Dirisha ni wangi on the other side. Kuja ni introduce teke. Yay! So welcome back to another brand new episode and nimesahau hii ndio kamera yangu. Welcome back to another brand new episode, and today I'm having a very special guest in here. This is a very, very good friend of mine. He's a very genius guy, by the way. A brilliant mind in studio today, and so we are just going to have a very candid and organic conversation. We are going to be as organic as possible, and it's politics today. Amasahidi politics, and be sure to stay tuned till the very end, because we are sure we're going to be delving into some very, very, very funful conversation. So welcome and stay tuned. Mr. Man,
kubwa
namna gani?
namna hii
Naona leo umeamua kukua casual. Umejua wewe nimekutana na Mama Sauti. Juzi nimekutana na wewe Nairobi man na bani nyingine ambaye niliadmire sana. Hey. Ile bar manze.
Nikaya finance bill
Bana, yani. Bani nyingine mimi nikipull up nayo hapa hivi hapa wendo hapa mtaa. Watu kwa wananiona tu class nyingine manze. Sasa hata siongei mingi
hello.
Sasa ni watu tu wananitafuta kuniongelesha. Mimi hata sasa mimi masimu mingi ambayo tunapiga manze hutaki kushika call yangu. Sasa hiyo ni mimi napigiwa. Naona.
Ni wewe unaangalia nishike.
Ni wewe unachagua una filter. Nishike nisishike. So welcome man, and do us a bit of small introduction about yourself. Nyingine yatafunguka as you open up and as you unpack
and demystify.
Yeah, exactly.
All right, thank you so much. This is my camera, right?
Sijui ni operate tena kama camera guy. Niende tena ni kuweke juu watu lazima waone sura yako bana. Yes. Unpack.
All right. Thank you so much for having me on the Jaba podcast. I'm Michael Trevis Opio, a student and an avid follower of politics and governance, especially in this present time where we are having a wave and a rejuvenation within the political landscape. Therefore, I'm here courtesy of the very present political landscape that we are having, and I'm an avid and bona fide member of the Kenyan politics.
What do you mean by the term avid? Umejua kizungu mingi, umejua na vocabulary inapita.
In the context I'm using it, I'd say passionate, enthusiastic. Yeah.
At least passionate sasa is a bit unaona ile mtu mama akitaka kupea mtoto chakula lazima aweke ina palatable.
Kwa mtoto palatable.
Unajua avid. Hii nyingine tena umesema ni gani? Kuna nyingine pia ulisema
I'm rooted. I'm self-aware, and I'm not negligent of what is going on within the political arena, because in history, when we're being taught history, we have the three prosperities of the human life. We have the social, we have the economic, and the political.
Exactly, and
more often than not, the social and economic rely so much on the political.
Exactly. And while I was in campus, there was this notion that we used to have in class, like the most powerful inaitwa the structures in the country, the media, then the politics, the political structure, and then we have again the other structure, ni gani?
Religious.
Sijui ilikuwa ni religion ama ni gani.
Religious plays a key factor.
So nilikuwa ni hizo tatu, so I was feeling like, oh wow, I am among the
three key
the key factors ambayo kama wanataka kuangalia nchi inaendelea aje lazima wataguzia media in the right place. So are you planning to join the media fraternity, not the media, politics,
the political arena?
Are you planning to run into that arena?
No, by virtue of being aware, I feel like I'm already within the arena. By virtue of knowing what's going on, by virtue of pushing for governance, proper and good governance, I feel like I'm already within it. Because the siasa mbaya maisha mbaya.
Kabisa.
When the political class is wrong, when those in power do atrocities to their people who they mandate over, then do not have jobs, do not have medicine within the hospitals. The policies that will be made will infringe on the rights of the very people they claim to lead.
And now this notion again that says that if you see something going the wrong way and then you don't act, waiting for someone else to act, no one else will act in your absentia or in that capacity. I'm still looking for the right word, but then no one will do it for you if you don't do it.
That is it.
Yeah. So what is it that you want to put in place, that is, or what change do you want to see and you want to implement that is this going to bring some impact into the youth lives and the adults lives, because just our lives generally?
I have a friend who usually says, when God shall punish people, he shall punish the oppressors for oppressing the oppressed, and equally he will punish the oppressed for accepting to be oppressed. So punishment is meted on all the parties. With that being said, really, I don't want so much change. I just want the basic systems that are already there to work. The biggest problem we have as Kenya, we have dysfunctional systems, be it within the educational space, the health field, be it in the job markets, our manufacturing, our human resource. Why do we find people having to bribe up to millions of money to get jobs which will pay a salary of 70,000? That's not even equivalent to the money you already paid.
Yeah, the bribery that you gave out.
Yeah.
Because the other day I was also offered a job. It wasn't really a good job.
Yeah.
But if you put on a weighing balance the money that I was to give out and the salary that I was to be paid, no, they weren't really balancing. The scale wasn't really because I was to pay 150,000 Kenya shillings, and then my job was to be a sweeper, I'm a cleaner, county cleaner. Then I was going to be a casual laborer, and then permanent, my job security wasn't really guaranteed. And then again, look at the salary. I was to be paid 15,000 a month.
Look at it. Does it warrant that amount?
It wasn't really.
And then look at it equally. You've studied media. Do you think your skills are what? So basically, it's an issue of misaligned, I'd say, priorities and fighting the system that we fought for. We wanted Africans to be free. We wanted them not to be casual laborers, but to have skills to get into the markets that required the skillful human resource. But you look at it when you want to get into a certain job, you don't even merit that category, but by virtue of you can pay a certain amount, then you get the job. So really, you look at it and you can tell that your governance, the politics, because from politics you get governance. It affects literally every aspect of your life, as an individual, as a family, you know, and as a Kenyan, in this case.
So let me ask you, are you planning to be a governor someday, a president, an MCA, or a senator, and which are some of the bills, if you maybe one day be a MP, which are some of the bills you want to present?
I'm totally against having MPs and governors offer bursaries if they can really channel them directly to the school accounts. There is no issue why they should trickle down to the county governments, yet they can be easily channeled directly to the school accounts, where the very constituents or the very citizens who need those funds there can get them directly without really begging for them to get them. It's of no use getting a CDF worth 200 million, yet you get a bursary worth 2,000. It is useless, if you ask me. I find the trickling down of funds from the national government down to the county governments and constituent representative giving loopholes for fraud and corruption. That is one. We should have a more direct channels of funds trickling down to the very citizens. It is of no use having an MP issue a bursary worth 1,500. Yet, if you can apply directly, for instance, help is a one-on-one interaction between you and the higher learning institution directly. Therefore, it limits. Yes, there has been issues, but over the years, help has really done a lot when it comes to funding students within the tertiary education space. Therefore, if I were to sponsor a bill, I'm totally against having MPs and governors handling education money. Because this money, you have to beg them. And you're right, it's a constitutional right to get that. Yes. Because within the provision of the budget, education is one of the sectors that gets the highest allocation. Therefore, if that's one of the bills I would sponsor. I would want a more direct channel of funding instead of having funds dispersed around. Secondly, I would really want us to have within the health space, which I'm in, I'd want us to have qualified professionals. We have really lessened the restrictions within that very field, leaving quacks to take advantage of the loose areas for exploitation of the very innocent Kenyans. Therefore, I would sponsor a bill to have chemists have registered pharmacies around. There is no single day, or I don't find it advisable for one to just take a prescription by virtue of he or she feeling sick and go to the chemist, and we should have chemists and pharmacists around having registered and qualified clinicians of pharmacies. It's the very simple things that I don't want us to have complex ideas within what. Let us first fix the very present ones before we transit into the very complex and advanced types of policies and implementations. That's an example of what I would really foster and watch for if I was in a position to sponsor a bill.
Okay, but there's this question I asked before getting out.
What does it take to?
Are you?
I answered that. I'm not really focused. Well, I'll cross the bridge when I get there. But given an opportunity,
which office would you run for?
The president, because I have direct influence of the policies made. Yeah.
Okay, so it's the president.
It's the president for me.
Yeah. Nice. So my friend was asking, what does it take to sponsor a bill? What does it take to sponsor a bill?
I'm not really versed with how a bill is sponsored, but what I know is you may take a letter to the relevant authorities, maybe I think it's to the speaker, office of the speaker, of a certain motion or bill. Because the provision, our constitution is, I find our constitution one of the very advanced and very detailed, because it gives provisions for every situation. So the constitution allows for an individual to sponsor a bill directly to parliament.
But you as a student now,
you can. You are not limited.
By the word sponsoring, does it mean that you pour some funds there?
That is what I'm not really sure, because the political class have really exploited that opportunity for them to make them sponsor most of the bills.
Yeah, it's them who are sponsoring
the bills.
I've never had a student sponsoring a bill, by the way.
Ideally, what should be is you as an individual, him as an individual, he can sponsor a bill, but most of the time your bill, you can sponsor a bill, but it won't even get to a level of a serious debate, because given the nature of the leaders we have, they really focus on their interests and not the interests of us.
How can we increase our salaries?
Exactly. That is what they do debate about, or what is ODM getting, or what is UDA getting. Yeah. So it's a man-eat-man society.
So right now you're practicing medicine and you're planning to be a doctor. Are you really tell us about, maybe before we take this political route, maybe you tell us some of the challenges you are not really tusianze na challenges hiyo tutashtua wazito. Tuanze na the beauties of being a doctor now that you're in your third year or second year?
Into the third.
Into the third year. The beauties of being in this space.
Service is the rent you pay for your space on earth. Service is the rent you pay for your space on earth. Medicine gives you that very platform, because by the services you offer, there's nothing really you're selling, but you're selling a service.
A service, yeah.
By you offering a service, you directly deal with the human life, you deal with the human himself. So it gives you an opportunity to be a good person.
Even if you are a bad person, you have
medicine gives you an opportunity to be a good person. How?
It gives you, because
by doctors, bro.
That's what I'm saying. It gives you an opportunity to choose to be a good.
You could have done that. You could have said that. To choose whether to be a good doctor.
So I believe by offering service, you touch on a life at a more personal level than a general way. I'd say you something, maybe at a shop, but I won't interact with you as a person in a more in-depth level. But by me being with you through maybe a sickness journey or just a consultative journey, we might have a more
one-on-one
type of relationship, and we can build upon that. So I find the aspect of service within the health space really key. So it needs someone who can be a servant, because from service you get a servant. Again, that is one joy, and I believe the joy of seeing someone get medication or get relieved of a certain condition by the knowledge you've tapped is I think gives self-fulfilling.
That's true. I've seen that even on this other side.
How did you what inspired you to even take medicine? There has to be something that triggered you. There has to be a route.
I had a grandmother who was diabetic, and to me I feel like it was an omission by the person who was attending to her then. She unfortunately passed on when she was ill. So that fueled my desire of studying that very course, feeling that there's a gap I can fill by studying.
So that you cannot lose, you don't lose anyone else to diabetes, because nowadays there's a lot of studies around it.
But again, you get to the field and really it's upon you to decide do you really want to be a good doctor? So among the things I want to become, I just just don't want to become a doctor, but a good doctor.
No.
What like when you say good doctor, what do you mean like good doctor?
Number one,
differences.
A good doctor is one who will advise you accordingly. Yeah. A good doctor will restrict himself within the guidelines and the regulations of the hospital and what the hospital really requires.
That is where I have a problem.
Yeah, exactly.
Because I've seen doctors who they assume the guidelines and they discover the thing that they think, because anyone who has achieved something had to go extra. You had to achieve to assume the normality first and then do something extra, something that was not was out of ordinary. Because you find that you've gone so hard and you get so used to, but if you cannot treat the patient, I feel like most of the doctors try to treat the disease and not the patient.
So what's the difference?
Just from if you look at it keenly, you'll see there's a difference treating a patient and a doctor. I mean, treating a disease and a patient. You might just treat a disease and forget about it. But have you asked the patient, how are you feeling? It's been 1 week. What are the progress you're making?
But we have ladies who will confuse that with being Dr. Nika and Anitaka.
Again. Also, there are things that play into.
Basi ndo maana kuna kwa this prescriptions like days that you should attend hospitals and whatever, so you don't see like we want you. No. It's just that
I feel like but
imeandikiwa uattend kitu Monday na Wednesday. So
if you feel like the patient's problem is almost similar to yours, then you're treating the patient before treating the disease. Of course, the goal is to treat the disease.
But then maybe sijui kama umewahi kuwa in a setting where you had to help someone who's sick.
No, not yet.
Not yet.
Not that level yet.
Then maybe that.
But I've got, of course, you get by having people in the village, by virtue of you being in an institution where medicine is offered and you're a student there, they believe any problem, any problem you have. So that's the only encounter I've had that is close to being of help to us.
You will have to.
So the best I can do is maybe you could see a registered professional, or you could see a professional. I'm not yet a professional. I'm on my way there.
But you have the basic knowledge, right?
Yeah, I have a few.
How does it feel like, unaanza like, okay, mimi niko na malaria chani. You don't have to do these stories zangu zetu za kwenda kama say I had like some bloating in my stomach. I had to go for drugs, nimeendea and everything. I had to just, because ini kitu normal inanihapeniaga every time that I wake up and I drink cold water. Like today I woke up, drank cold water, nimekuja hapa nikasikia inanisumbua. So how about you, when you're sure of what you know that this is malaria and you're sure of the drugs and everything and you know the number of days, how does it feel? Just having you have your health on you have your health on stamina that I can identify this and I know the medicine on. How does that feeling make you feel?
I feel like it's a privilege. I'd call it a privilege of getting to know. A car might have a problem, but if there's no mechanic, you've seen mechanics who fix their own cars. So in a position to do that, it's some sort of privilege.
But there are instances where the mechanic can't fix the car anymore.
Of course, there are those unfortunate scenarios.
You ever been in that situation where maybe you went to a doctor and you feel like he didn't really treat you?
Yeah.
Ukaenda ukajitreat kawa kusema
it happens before, because I was like, I have this in thought, so let me just go get maybe speaker confirmation.
Yes.
And you're like, what he's telling me is trash.
Umekuja na nakupiga
I'll just go take some meds. Which is not really
scenarios where you lazima kuna.
There are also scenarios where I was wrong. So that's why I feel like when within the hospital setting, I feel like we should have 2 or more at most 2, because we are limited in terms of human resource. But we should have at least 2 doctors to limit misdiagnosis. Because I believe if we have like 2 or 3 around, we can really limit. Misdiagnosis is a big menace.
Oh, so
but unapata most of the big hospitals ni one doctor people believe in. Akisema ni cancer.
Yeah. So
no one to tell it, bro.
And some doctors who are slightly really elevated in terms of the academic ladder feel like, no, a junior cannot tell me something, but they are wrong. So
hata kwa politics,
it's the same thing with what we are saying right now of me going to an hospital, So it's one profession that requires a contract spirit, where you can listen to someone and maybe let me go look at that. It comes with ego. Another big thing, terrible thing.
For real.
Yeah, it's the ego part. Because when I've studied 2 courses at the same time, and surgery at the same time. So
I know.
I'm sure.
Tell me.
So it's only me who can know this thing. So what you're saying is,
but we've experienced people, I had even clients like Jana.
And this was the thing. So just listen to me when I tell you, I'm the one who was studying here. It's not you. So it's one that requires a more contract spirit.
Now that you've been into this space for 2 years, challenges gani umepitia juu? Kuna mwingine alikuwa anasema manze yanasoma hivi anaangalia nje bana, watu wanatembea na makwela wanatesa.
But it's a very one of the most demanding courses.
Do you have your social life by then?
Yeah, by the way, that's one thing people really fail to look at when you're choosing career choices in terms of your work-life balance. Because you get, after your university is packed, you rarely get time to socialize. Most of your time is occupied by your studies. Then you get outside into the job market, which is nowadays not even sure as people. People think it's sure, but it's not.
It's not sure.
Yeah, so you get outside, you find you do like 36-hour shifts. When you're out, you just want to sleep, rest for maybe 12 hours and get into another shift. So there's a challenge in the life-work balance. So, and I've heard doctors themselves confess that one thing they never really thought of while getting into a career is their life-work balance. So it's one area, that's one challenge.
You've thought about it?
Yeah, I've thought about it personally, and it gets to an age where you can no longer have conversations about Ganacho or Madueke or the FIFA Club World Cup or have you seen that new music?
Because you will not see.
Yeah, so
I was there studying for my...
Yeah, it gets to a point where your conversation is, my daughter, my son is supposed to go to school like me too.
Yes.
And you've never thought of that. Work is taking your life away. School has taken half of your life away.
You have no time for Amori.
Yeah, you have no time for Amori again. So you must go. You must go. Yeah.
And now
you out, Yeah.
But
that's one challenge.
It's a lot, baby.
That's one challenge. Again.
Have you ever thought about your work balance, baby?
Yeah, I've thought of it.
Because before the career, we always have
everything to weigh on. So I've thought about it. So, and again, thinking about it, you have to think of the person you will have in the future as well. When you now want to sit down and have a family.
You want a doctor, huh?
Yeah.
You want a doctor? Or a nurse?
I'm not really. I don't have a preferred career.
Doctors
I'm telling you, most of the doctors I know have nurses and I'm doctors too. Na nurse anazanga tu na nurse hivi nasema bro wewe pia niacha nisome. And then I'm a doctor. So
I don't have I'm still, because I'm looking at my fellows who are doing the 4-year courses. And right now they are having their eyes left, right, because you're transiting, you're now becoming an adult, so you have to have someone within your hemisphere. For us, go for the
ndio bado uko middle
sasa ndio unaanza kuangalia sasa. Yeah, so I don't have a preferred.
How many years?
It's 6 to 7 year course. Yeah.
You know kuanza class 1 to 7, right?
Basically.
So sasa ni ile attachment. So it's a whole
that's one of the challenge. Again, also courtesy of how hefty the courses. I mean, it's so demanding that you might lose yourself in the process. So your mental stability is really important. We've had cases of students having
mental breakdowns.
Yeah, mental crash outs and breakdowns.
But how is it? No, it's so common in medicine and everything. What is it about the lessons or the classes or the units that
the amount of work you need to do?
You need to study
this. For instance, you need to know like 100 drugs so that you don't make a mistake while giving a prescription for a cough, you know. Yeah. But so at the same time, you need to know the part of the body this drug goes and the part of the body where it is. So it's a lot of things. The workload is just.
Say tears, bro. Come on, say tears, man.
At times you sit down, you're like, no, the 6 years are not enough.
But people are getting mental.
Yeah, you're like, maybe the 6 years are not enough.
But then you have times politics, so let's talk.
No, it's not like after
by the 6 years.
I'm just aware. I'm so aware of what's going on.
By the 6th year utakuwa aware of what's going on. Utakuwa hapo wewe yani I've seen people. I have an uncle who is a doctor man mwenye ule alikuwa ananiambia by the it always starts by una lag too behind ikistart because they started the course wakiwa watu karibu so. By the time alikuwa anamaliza kwa watu wawili. Okay, you imagine the rate of people so to watu wawili
and you might think it's
na si watu walidrop at second year ama kadi.
I think it's funny and it's not.
The worst part of it is hakuna mtu alidrop first year, hakuna second, like people had that resilient ya kwenda the fourth year.
Fourth year ndio
anaona. Fourth year ndio sasa watoka ni man 22 tatu wameenda. I'm telling you. By the time wana graduate wawili, watu wawili.
That's
so
nice. Nini yenu pia watu wameanza ku drop.
Sahi bado huwezi ona.
Sahi bado
until they are for very
wako form 1 form 2 sahi. Unajua what is biology? Sahi what is biology? The characteristics of biology like kuna times zinakuja moles. Moles hapo ndio sasa watu walikuwa tunaachia chemistry. So I think your time, but mimi naonaga it's more of resilient too. Yes, kitu ni za ngumu.
You have to be resilient.
But ukiwa na hiyo resilient, unakuwa tupo and all the best in your career man. I'm wishing one day uwe tu dog fulani tunakuja hapo mimi bazenga. Nataka tu boys zako wapi? Huo tu ndo nikuze. Mimi sitaki mtu mwingine enda najuaga venye because the people who have preference by the way. You know some doctors wako na venye wanafanya vitu. Na pia wengine wako na venye wanafanya vitu.
And you also need to have confidence in your doctor.
In a doctor, family doctor. If you have, I realized that in Kitambo when I was growing up, I thought that a family doctor like this, one family for one doctor, as in one doctor is a family doctor, maybe family 20. I came to realize that one doctor is a family doctor or families so. Na every family wanam trust na shida zao.
Yeah, you know, one of the challenges is we have I was seeing a statistics that showed that for every one doctor 100,000 at least at least 100,000 patients depend on it at least. And it could be high, it could be even 500,000 because I'm looking at the case in Migori. Migori only has 2 doctors.
The entire Migori County.
Migori County Referral Hospital, 2 doctors. And I look at the population around and I'm so sure.
It could be true.
It could be true. So that is one of the things.
But there's more of like these doctors who've been, they've been there and they've done miracles. People really believe in doctors who Ali saved this guy, Ali saved him. So I mean develop that, that kind name and trust pia imekuwa. So people really believe na sasa na kuna workload because ufanye tu kingine nzuri and then your name, he was almost dying and this doctor came and saved him. Hapo tu. umemess juu you're going to be extra rich but extra busy pia. So kuna when mtu unaitwa kisi level hospital kidogo hivi and whatever, but that's a very mimi naona it's kila career kuna demands zake na when you are successful in something then
you get noticed.
You get noticed and sasa lazima sasa uanze to balance.
That is why there is no single day a candle will light under the table.
Yes,
it is light
above the table because inataki hiyo space yake
exactly
ya light.
And now there's the other day we were having a conversation and you were like you might complete your studies without getting into an hospital. Into a hospital.
At times what you meet in the hospital is so
are they scary?
Scary, draining mentally because I mean no one enjoys suffering. So
mwana vitu kasema
I mean it's just too much.
See, lazima build the heart, bro. Like just build it.
And that is, and also looking at the opportunities within Kenya right now, it is very limited.
And do you see yourself in is it an hospital?
A hospital.
I do see yourself in a hospital or in a political arena.
I find joy in the hospital more.
So politics, you are just backing. You are just fearful dog. Backing. Hey. But mtu akikuja nikucho unakimbia ukipotea. So in the political arena you are that kind of a dog or
no.
Or you are this German dog.
I'm only in the political arena by I feel like it needs it could tap into a few ideas I have. But I'm skilled and groomed for the hospital. I'm being scaled and groomed for the hospital, and not on top of sunroofs and rallies.
No, I'm telling you, it reaches a point where you've been a daughter for a very long time, and you want to now, take a career step now. You just go politics because people have gone from radio careers to politicians now. People have been teachers. Politicians now, people have been doctors, politicians now. In a way,
but most of the time the goals are different.
But then I have this. I do follow politics, the US sana because they influence like our entire nini. The other day nilikuwa na watch your documentary ambaye Trump alikuwa interviewed when he was 34 years old. Alikuwa anasema venye being in politics, that's living a mean life. That is a life that he cannot really want for himself. And look at himself right now.
He's the president of the goddamn US.
Superpower.
So things we say.
You see, things.
I would not say that. I'll say that space can tap into the ideas I have.
But so what do you mean by
being skeptical? Like
the hospital.
The hospital,
But survive aje bro now, you're saying it's too much. Na easily vitu sasa unafasa hii huko intwaje, like you have this now you have this heart hata you want to really be, unataka kuona hata hiyo, like you want to see the worst of the worst because sinasikia you guys mnapeleka kwa morgue and everything.
By time
shike mtu amededi hivi.
But of course by you handling a human,
you'll handle like see you so you bad.
By virtue of you handling human life, you will handle it when it's dead anyway.
So you've operated a dead person. Ama bado hamjafika hapo.
Oh, okay, of course if you're studying anatomy you are
umeshaenda huko.
That's your first introduction in that line anyway. So by you dealing with, you cannot tell me if you are a teacher and you fail to meet a chalk or the blackboard.
And then people know to get and squeeze him na nile ikutoka kwa dara inaweza kwa class anytime. So this is Mr. Samson who was dead last week and leo tumeleta hapa juu Na kila mtu oh sawa okay tuendelee tu.
Yeah, with time it's no longer.
I'm not staying in that class. I'm not staying in that class with dead people around.
That's why you're not a doctor.
Kuna career zingine Buddha soja dog
hiyo kitabu niliona tu hapa mbele nikiendelea na hii.
The people who've tried and then but is there a transition between nursing and kuwa doc? Unaanza na kuwa nurse and then
That's it's possible you can do that. But I feel like other countries where like in the US medicine is more of a graduate school. The transition is far much easier in other countries because by the time you're done with your undergrad maybe in nursing, a lot of things always come. You need to marry, you need to get yourself maybe get some experience and so you might fail coming back and do your but transitioning in other countries is very easy because they have medicine at graduate school, so you can do your nursing as an undergrad degree
and then PhD sasa ukwe PhD ndio sasa ukwe nini inaitwa
those a consultant or something. You do a fellowship in a certain field. So it's a crazy career.
So ukikuwa doctor ambaye ni doctor tuseme doctor ni yule amesoma PhD si ndio?
Doctor ni after.
So doctor
postgrad doctor of philosophy.
Doctor umo
sasa tuseme kama wewe sahi you already a doctor si ndio?
Till I get that till I get this. Because by you calling me a dog might send a wrong image to a certain village.
By the other tuma comments hapo aseme manze you interviewed a certain doctor he was so eloquent man and he was so bright. I heard his ideas and would you just refer that
exactly
akwe family doctor
family doctor anakuja shit mimi naweza kusaidia mtu na malaria lakini cancer hapo bado itakuwa noma hiyo. Let's talk politics kidogo. Jana kuliendaje manze?
Okay, before unajua kwa doctor kuna wenye wanadili na sijui what kuna orthopedic kuna what so we were
not yet because after you only do that after your undergrad. Most of the specialization is post.
Sasa ukienda kufanya doctorate masters
it's like so like basically the Bencason people always want to become the neurosurgeon or the gifted hand. He did is in fact for them he did an undergraduate degree before going for med school. Then after med school you go for residency or fellowship in a certain
Dr. Kason alidedi bado anakuaga
at a point he was within the government.
Ile time ya Obama ama time ya
Trump the first is Trump's first term. I remember there was even a clip of him praying during the cabinet meeting.
He still have like the hands are still gifted
by virtue of him being a doctor
and other things. You book nilisoma manze
after you got so inspired.
You go like Ben Cousin can do it. I can do it. I didn't make some fuel, iliongeza some fuel in life.
And is that fuel still burning ama iliisha hujaongeza
ni fuel za primary. So kuna unafika point yenye sasa fuel inaisha unatafuta fuel station tena. But he had a good story. Mimi nilipenda tu story yake na demu yake, the wife now. Walikutana. I love the fact that waliongea hadi the bill company. Waliongea kutoka asubuhi hadi jioni hadi the next morning. The bill company kisema kuna mtu akanaweza ongea hivi. So they assumed that bill. Bill ilikuja so high hadi Masaki alikuwa like no what tunaongea the US bills zote ukuja by the end of the month. So unaongea tu na simu as much as you can. So your parent anajua okay family yangu most of the time what tunaongeaga kwa simu. So this time the son is in love. Bill imekuja haijai kuja. Hadi you Kenya US bill whatever mkuja kusema kulingana na history hii tutawatolea tu. Maybe kuna mtu tu alishika simu akaiweka on hapa akapigia msee na akacha kiwa on. So mimi nilikuwa inspired with the love. And of course the neurosurgeon part. I've never dreamed of being a doctor anyway. I love the fact that ako hivyo. So about Saba. Mbona ndani jana iko work man? Hii Saba iko work.
Saba. I really don't think Saba had a clear intention. Because Saba ideally was really for the multi-party democracy. That was the reason for the first Saba ever held in Kenya.
Yes.
Yes. We have the today so-called heroes. We have Matiba and the likes, Raila, who really fought for multi-party.
The hero is alive. He is still alive.
Yeah, that was in around 1991 and 1992.
Yes.
Yeah. So this Saba, the demonstrations are now being hijacked for personal interest, personal political interest.
Exactly.
Personal political interest by a few political leaders. So that's why this past Saba was chaotic, because it lacked a clear intention. But that being said, anyway, I strongly condemn the police brutality meted on
Yes.
the innocent Kenyans, those who are there on without damaging anyone's property, and they were peaceful. I condemn.
But do you think you can really go and protest without peacefully?
Yeah, I was having a conversation with a friend of mine concerning protests in Kenya, and I was like, can we have protests and not riots in Kenya? Because I feel like there's a difference. That's why there's an anti-riot police and not an anti-protest police. Yeah, because I feel like
we've been rioting a lot.
We have a rubric of protests that protests should be chaotic.
But then I feel like there's this protest that we had last year.
That was an organized protest.
Yeah.
That is a protest now. The finance bill, the Gen Z protest, the finance bill, anti-finance bill protest.
What happened?
It was organized, but people still, you saw what...
No, the Gen Zs organized themselves anyway. So if it's about organization or not, it was still an Gen Z organization. There was no politician who came to... because by then, no one was...
That was the only that is
I feel
the
like
only protest.
Alongside other protests like Femicide and the very contemporary protests, I feel like that was a very organized protest because and that was a genuine protest, having a clear roadmap and an indication with a genuine plight of having the finance bill repurged because it was unfair and very cruel to the citizens.
They just wanted it, just wanted it redone, the whole thing, because kuna wenye kuna complain some just some clauses we just needed the whole thing.
The whole thing, because we felt like we were being hoodwinked.
Yes.
So that was a very genuine protest, if you ask me, because I was part of it. Yeah.
But kuna finances, unajua protests must be financed. Kama tumesema tu kweli, people need water, the masks,
the financing I know, whatever, the financing I know of is we were having fellows, because I was actively on the Twitter spaces. I was actively on Twitter every time. In fact, I was logging into Twitter like I was logging on WhatsApp. Checking on the DMs like there's some story there checking, but I wanted to be aware, because I feel like the clauses within the finance bill touch on me personally as a student.
Yes.
So the only financing I knew of to now, and I still believe that's the only financing I saw, unless otherwise, was for having people come to the CBD, those who couldn't. Also having water in case the police started rioting, and having medical camps for emergencies in case. Because ideally the thought behind that protest was we shouldn't have any casualties in any case, because the protest that was there on 18th, which I was in town on that very day, was relatively peaceful, if you ask me, until at 7 when the police started rioting. It was relatively peaceful. The June 25th was relatively peaceful until the decision to invade parliament, which I find, if you ask
me,
still I feel like
it was not peaceful until the
idea
decision. Because kuna watu walikuwa wameuliwa hali ya saa 6 na parliament waliingia jioni, so there's always a difference. The people who killed before entering parliament.
Yeah, that is true. But again, what I usually ask myself, who should occupy parliament? The representatives of the people, right?
Yes.
And if the people went there,
it's still their parliament.
It's still their parliament.
Yes. No, so, it's the other day,
so it's logic.
Yeah, because it's a government of the people, by the people, and for the people.
Yeah.
So it's the people who are there.
So
they went themselves because they feel like those who are representing them
are not doing the right.
Yeah.
So you see, that is where I think that the only difference is that the government felt like the people who went to parliament went to destroy parliament and just loot and whatever. And we saw the videos of people holding the chair to the speaker, and, having selfies with mwenye alienda na farasi hajaipatikana, and like kuna vitu kama hizo. So the government walikuwa took some disrespect. But for me, it's like something that
we should make it
time. Imagine people went to parliament and then there's no distraction. Wangeenda tu pale, okay, sasa fanya hivi tuzime masimu, tuache ufala, sasa tukae na tudiscuss mambo, na tungefuata hiyo chance, we could have just been there to ingie na to organize ourselves and we see on what to do from there.
I feel equally we should have a provision within the law that if the constituents of our Wendo constituency feel like their MP are not doing them justice in terms of legislation, they can go to parliament themselves and make a legislation.
I think that's true. That is true. That can really work. Inaweza our representatives
to know what they are supposed to do.
Ni sitting allowances too.
But what I can say is we have a rubric of mandamanos that is, I feel like at times we might not be right on it, because we believe mandamanos should be chaotic.
What do you mean by the term rubric before when
an example, or we have like a specimen we use.
We have samples of
a standard measure that for a mandamano to be there we have to block the road. For a mandamano to be there, a shop should be closed or a shop should be looted.
And there has to be
you're a Kenyan, so like a Kenyan.
But the other countries have done
straight up Kenyan. You know very well that hakuna mandamano hapa Wendo. Hapa tuanze tu achana na Nairobi. Hapa Wendo, there's no mandamano if you don't see some. Up and about, and before and about bridge.
I remember the first mandamano I ever witnessed in my life was the 2007 mandamano. Ili ilikuwa deadly. Because I remember the entire day ilikuwa tu ni
That is the first time niliona mtu niliona some shop kwa kiku fulani alikuwa na show fulani hapo kwa border that was very like ilikuwa looted also, like msa alikuwa anafukuzwa, walienda kwake and everything. I remember nilienda hapo na kichungu ya chai. Get up with diluted one. That is diluted.
You also
like nilipata leo kiloot. Ili drop chini, mimi nikachukua nikaenda nikaambiwa rudisha hiyo kitu pe imetoa.
Mwenyewe aliona.
No, my parent nilienda kwa nyumba of course. My parent akaniambia rudisha penye. I had to return it.
Because they feel your parents are also business people.
So that is the first protest niliona yenyewe hii kitu kumbe na kwaga serious, and that was about just Raila.
Even from the era of Moi, the protests that were there were, I felt like there was and also I feel like the provision of the law, I don't know what's on with the training we have for our policemen. brutality.
You can't be individually making your own decisions and you're in the police force where you should be following what ranks.
I feel like it's now that's a more of a personal level for a policeman, but I find like the police brutality issue has been an issue ever since the criminal what among the reforms Raila has been vouching for really is reforms around the police conduct and brutality. So for now I feel like we still have a long way to go, because within Africa we are one of the countries with, I feel like, one of the best democracies around, because for us you are allowed to air, but that has changed a bit, but you are allowed to express your meaning, but it may change. So
me what I feel like the police force I to empower them, because let's be the truth be told, Buddha hakuna mtu broke economy yetu kama polisi. Yes, they steal from us. Yes, tunapea pesa kwa road. Yes, watakutushika tuwapeza macho nini. Za macho zingekuwa hapo kako na toyake. Unaona? Because anajua vizuri that salary yangu ni 15k. Hii 15k haiwezi nisukuma. So I must, na kuna bills, na kuna I have family who they believe that means I'm in the police force, so I must have money. So lazima gonge wase ndio apate. Ni kama tu magendo. People do magendo not because they not because they have extra money, because hiyo ndio unapata haitoshi the bills, so you must go extra way. That is the same to police. If it's other them, they do it extra. I've seen whatever. There's countries like Egypt where police ndio wako na magari, the best cars zinakuja tu hivi, zinakuwa improved, like cars of police zinakuwa improved from maybe Land Rover to Range to whatever, the fastest cars. Why? Because they want police want that comfortability, now the best gadgets, the best devices, the best cars, so that they just maintain.
Yeah, they should equally live comfortable lives, just as.
Police
they do some of the streamers work.
Mtu amededi sahi, mtoto amekotwa maybe Riverside pale. There's no one who will really capture ama mtu atachukua. Ni polisi lazima ukuje na achukue. Now there's an issue somewhere in the police. The number of times we call the police in our society is a lot.
So we need them in as much as we need them.
So we need them trained, we need them empowered. We don't need these people. We don't need the rogue police. Because ours ni rogue too. Ours ni wale wenye they need money. That's why they operate with the criminals. They're the ones who make the deals. They're the ones who kill people. Government atakuwa mtu ni polisi. I think someone can only be used when he's broke. Unakuanga very very utumiage akili kwa unado. Because you think about there's an opportunity to get money here.
There's this saying maskini what?
Maskini akipata
matako ule
niendana na
maskini ana shame pesa, something like in that line.
I know
so we all in all, the point is we need our policemen empowered, because if they're empowered, I don't think we would have the
unaona watu wanaishi kwa campsite. Wanaishi ni kama there are people ni kama nomads. Hadi leo ni polisi. Tuko nao happy hivi. I go there once mimi nataka kwa polisi hata huko juu. You see kuna hizo ma houses zilijengwa sijini 19s bado ziko na bado mapolisi wanaishi hapo. So there are people that new police services bado hajakuwa na mjanja jani nini unaanza na hapo ndio unaenda maybe una rent. Few policemen when you maybe kuna positions big unapata wame rent actual houses. The APs wenye ndio wameandikwa tu kazi hivi unaanzaga na hizo
mabati hapo.
Hiyo yenye kwa hapo. And it's not something that
it's not a decent place.
It's not a decent place. Na hata wewe ukiwa hapo you're thinking about moving out of there. And your salary can't help you move. So lazima tu gonge wase uwe ruthless, uwe unapiga deals na wezi nini. So I feel like the problem we have shida yote tuko nayo ni corruption. Corruption is ni kuimaliza ni ngumu, lakini we must find ways ya reduce kabisa because the people who are really gaining from the corruption. Criminals are gaining, our politicians are gaining from corruption.
It seems like you're not the only one who is not gaining because you're not part of it. That's why there's a corruption is only corruption when you're not part of it.
When you're not part of it.
Exactly. Yeah.
No, when you're part of it, it's connection now.
It's connection. I'm the connected one, bwana.
When you're part of it, it's
connections.
Manze tafuta connections.
Ni God Joe.
Ni God.
Sana usisema ni God manze. But yeah, no.
Mashuki tu.
Unauliza msema umishi hivi vizuri bana. Rada ni gani? Tumekuwa pale kwa nyumba na wewe the whole day. Ni umishi hivi. One to one two. So mimi I feel kama venye sahi sasa. You see, truth be told, sahi unajua we don't really have an opposition. Because kama ni Gachaga nule mtu mwenye is just is just an angry dog who is now backing because he's not in the house. Once he's welcome back and I'm into the warmth. I'm not even like trashing the name of our ex-deputy president, but I tend to think that in politics kuna koga na gains na loses pia. Kuna time too fulani that you lose a lot until you feel like you have been left in the cold so much that lazima wake kidogo ndio watu wajue okay mse bado akona sauti na tunafaa. So I think that is what he's been doing.
My question always is for people who have worked together, have campaigned together, do you think they can only be at loggerheads at it's a question, it's a matter of policy at I was having this policy that we should have youth recruiting.
Mimi napenda nika ina namba sahihi.
To be honest, elevated Gachagua is being hosted out of office. Initially, when Gachagua was getting into a pact with Ruto, one thing I feel like he made a mistake on was not having a party to join. He never had foot soldiers because he was only coming in as an
kuna MOU. I mean, you shit vibasa.
He was never an MP. He was just an MP from Madeira. He was no governor. When you're a governor, it gives you a more of a regional outlook.
But that nigga elevate, man.
Yeah, because for instance, if I take a case study of Wanga in Nairobi, she has a regional outlook. Everyone is looking to her now because she was able to lobby for some of the developments in Nairobi town.
Yes. She's brought the president after 3 years.
Yeah.
So
she has a more of a regional outlook. She's one of the names which can be mentioned when it comes to Nyanza politics now. Contrary to Gachagua only got there courtesy of the financial resource he could pump into the campaigns of UDA. He was never there as a party leader, and there was no memorandum of
memorandum of
understanding between him and the president now. So that was the key thing.
Richer than the president because
no, Ruto is way.
Okay, here's the thing. If I'm way richer than you, and the people who may decide kunipea do, apart from you, see, I think I'm still good.
But at that time, Ruto was facing frustrations from the then government, and the only way you could get funding was from someone who is equally rich as him. So Ruto was limited in terms of financing. It's not like he lacked, but most of his accounts were frozen. Yeah. So he needed someone who was willing to
Gachagua yake pia zilikuwa frozen. Yake
Later, when they realized Gachagua is pumping funds into Ruto's campaign, you know.
Yake pia kwa frozen akasema ukibaki ni prison.
Exactly.
Uli wa bro wako.
So
there's a lot of rumor. Like we don't really understand what's going on. You see, hata mimi sasa nikisimama tu and then I want to maybe even argue about, you know, Gachagua and Ruto and everything. I can't even argue that way, that route, because I don't even understand where these two people come from
where they
and what they've done to be in that place, because what we know is what we read in the newspapers and see in the news.
And you find
what of it?
These people talk behind the newspapers, they talk.
They do.
Sasa cheki andika hii, hiyo is your talk. Your video toa hii.
So there are people who know each other more than we know them. The relationship between Ruto and Gachagua is more personal compared to the relationship Ruto would have.
It seemed like it was a very personal betrayal. Because Gachagua alikuwa anasema, I was watching a interview alikuwa na Obina kwake, and it was like, he was telling Obina that this is Ruto alikuwa anakuwa invited kwake, na even like made a picture of Ruto. Alikuwa anasema hiyo picture bali kwa, you know, yes, he still has
yule jamaa kwa receipt
like, you know, the picture is there in my house until now kunikumbusha that this is the biggest betrayal in my life. So every time I look at that picture I remember never to be lied again. So anasemaga siku hizi he doesn't really invite people to his house, like akona trust issues, because the one guy who he came and prayed, you know, they were praying together. Yeah.
Yaani mimi alinifanyia hivyo.
Umeka picha yake sasa, niaje umeka picha yake hapo. Bro, si unex unex wangu. Na imeka picha kuni remind.
But you know that's so funny because most of the time was delete. Nitatama ex
kama you delete na ni clear na ni hata nambaki wewe unipata.
Gachagua umekapo as a sense of reminder that mtu alinibetray na hata remain. Na alisema vizuri, he'll do everything possible in his power to make sure that Ruto ajaenda term yake ya pili. And the guy has money. Yes, gava sasa unajua inaweza frustrate biashara zake bla 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 nini, but unajua all the money na new money, all the money huwezi maliza. Kuna zingine maybe akapata na shares kwa Blue Band unatumia hiyo day, akona shares kwa hiyo bread unapendaga, you can never akona shares kwa Safaricom, you can never know.
What is wealthy? Yeah, he's wealthy.
He's a guy who's like, I've not seen anyone who elevate to kutoka kwa MP akaenda deputy president.
That was what you were saying. I think one of the reasons why he was easily expunged from the government or from his position was by virtue of him lacking a more I don't call it experience, because he has been in politics for long. But if he was a person who could do politics with the then President Moi, so that is someone who he was groomed by Moi basically. So I cannot say he doesn't have experience.
Amekuwa siasa, amekuwa chini ya maji, wale wasewa deals au si.
So I just say he was not.
Ni kama the guy who msemenye the other day alikuwa anapanga deputy vinya nafasi mama mbele. This guy Faruk, this Faruk guy.
Ni tu watu chini ya.
Wewe ni msemenye he wields some power. Chini ya maji, because people now know that Faruk is the guy you go talk to when you want to talk to Ruto.
Gachagua was Uhuru's PA at some point.
So
So I feel like it was more of a hard decision because by then there was a vacuum within Mount Kenya. A kingpin, which they by virtue of Uhuru Kenyatta leaving, sasa that vacuum, you know, with vacuum brings disturbance. So hiyo tu nilifanya, but ideally if I know even something he always says right now is he will never get into a pact without having their own party and an MOU, because he feels like he was coasted by that.
He feels like he was used. But then do you feel like Kindiki was the right choice after Gachagua was chopped off from that?
That's a very hard question.
But this guy Philip
because Nani calls him a very nice name.
Yes sir.
Mtu wa
mkono.
Soprano. The soprano guy. Nani anamuita hivyo? Gachagua na akienda kwa political rally anamuita mtu wa soprano akikuja hapa atakuja hapa apige soprano yake awachoche, lakini mimi nimekuja hapa kuambia hivi. So do you feel like the soprano guy was the right guy to replace how do they call Gachagua
Rigiji. I can't really say because while he was a senator, he was a senator of Tharakanithi. And I've not really experienced his leadership on a
personal level.
At a personal level or directly, you know. If maybe by the time he was senator, he participated in a bill that was remarkable and transformative. You know, I'd say something to others, but I don't think I ever saw one or I've ever heard of one. The only thing I've known about Kindiki that he was one of the lawyers who represented Uhuru in the ICC. That's the only thing I know about him. Since then,
but he's a very welcoming guy, and
he has. I find him having a very cool personality.
Anakuwa ule msi wa watu watu wa UDA na watu wa whatever.
He has a
that's why they wanted him.
Soft.
Yes, so a very he has a soft like for everyone in the party.
You can just tell from even how he talks.
Personality.
It doesn't really depend on the pitch of the voice, but
Hitler was a very silent guy. Nasikia Hitler alikuwa mtu mwenye kwa rally ndo utashangaa. Msi uongea. He was a silent guy until amepewa chance ya kuongea.
So
but then we've seen even with our ladies lazima kwetu na sauti nzito ndio kwa anaweza kukusikiza.
Buda. Kuna time sasa yenyewe hapo kwa madem naye
Yeah, but you know this thing that I wanted to ask. Yes, imekuja. Rigiji nani Kindiki amekuwa kwa gava since Rigiji alitolewa lini? Last year up to now, that's close to now 1 year, let's say. Amekuwa
hajafikisha naweza kuwa amefikisha
is there an impact? Ama deputy awezangi later
what I've realized the strategy of the government with his position as deputy president is more safeguarding Mount Kenya as a voting bloc, because you see most of the time he is sent for empowerment forums and rallies within Mount Kenya. So I feel like the main goal of having Kindiki in that position is to safeguard
Mount Kenya's vote.
So a surety of a second term.
It's more of a selfish interest.
Because mimi sioni position yenye like hakuna la Kenya, like it's just like
it's more of empowerment and the contributions. So and then it's more geared on securing a second term. So
na role Mudavadi pia pale sasa like
prime cabinet secretary. So, you know, it's more of being a prime cabinet secretary is more of a prime minister. It's an equivalent of a prime minister. Basically you are the head of when Raila was the prime minister, he was the head of parliament, I think. Because Kibaki was the head of government, then there was the legislative wing was prime minister. That's why by then the prime minister would attend even parliamentary processions. So I feel like for him he's more of like a powerful person within the cabinet. I just say an overall foreseer of government, the executive wing of government. But he's more of a ceremonial.
I mean, I feel like there's some position that should just be watered down because they really don't make a lot of sense. For real, apart positions kama deputy president, yes, because maybe Ruto akiwa Hawaii is deputy, but anafaa someone who has impact, like a lot of impact. Ruto can be in Kisii, the deputy can be in Migori, and there's a lot of impact that coming from Migori. Hata kama president yuko, but there was somebody. But I feel like rallies hata, you know, even Kindiki akienda some places, I feel like Mount Kenya tu ndio namjua as, you know, Kindiki atakuja hapa sasa anaweza kuja kwa rambe zetu ya tupiga hata mamita 5 or whatever, but you don't feel the impact like Raila akikuja hapa ama like Ruto akikuja hapa, like there's just someone
you know, it's just a matter of charisma. For someone like Raila, it's charisma. People generally like him. Even without him speaking.
He's been doing that a long time.
And he knows how to use that.
You realize when listening to who nigga akiongea hapa wewe ndo time alikuja hapa stage. Karenyi mse anaga speech yote tu ingia.
It's just charismatic.
Na go to like he's Raila.
The order in the name.
Yeah. Nilikuwa nimesimama hapa na Raila kukaa hii kamera wanza ndio niangalia mse hivi.
He has an aura. The charisma brings the aura.
Because he talks about the things that people when you're hapo kama MPs nini we're talking about Sonia and whatever the obvious things too. Ataongea nao kidogo and then the rest of the thing itakuwa ni mama and it's really about the charisma. Charisma kumeneza sasa kama una shit but
the same thing with Babu. For you have experienced Babu while you
like Babu line is more of
Babu is charismatic.
Apart from that, Babu is a doer man. Yaani yule mtu mwenye kila mtu anamjua kama like if he sets his mind on something he does it. Nigga anaka lawyer anakuwa tu lawyer hivi na tayari ameweza kuchachisha
you know what I realize in politics is play with emotions. Always seem to be there. Yes. Always being there. Kwa macho yao. Be relevant to them.
And then
there's a relevant to us to mess. Kuna watu wamekuwa kwa macho yetu hadi sasa yetu hataki anymore.
And then there's this other word I'm looking for, nimepotelea, but then feel their pain. If they are mourn with them. Manze niwe amekuwa na sisi kwa mashida. Unaona kama the other day Ojuang alipewa ile 2 million na Ruto manze. Sasa ana feel like Ruto is the bazeng. Juu amekuwa na yeye kwa shida. Tena uone kwa furaha tena bado ako na sisi celebrating Christmas with us na tupea ma gift manze. This is the leader.
Within the 48 laws of power, use selective generosity. Selective generosity.
Usikwe tu generosity ya ufala.
Selective. Calculative is your generosity. That's why utaona bwana say there is floods. Sakaja will be there. Oh, I'm donating 2 million. You know, you have to be, their problems have to appear to be yours.
Nisioni kabla mtaona shirika waka Sakaja man. Sakaja na Babu. Wewe hata wewe ona tu.
And again the young, you know,
wewe ona tu manze. Sakaja atashindaje Babu? Like all hands down,
Nairobi politics.
Power, like Nairobi just relax. No politics, hands down. Sakaja Babu. Bro. Mtu tu atasimamisha Babu Sakaja, like is there any argument hapo? Is there maybe if the government backs Sakaja up, you know, the only way I believe Sakaja.
What do you mean by backing up?
It's by you know tuko hapa na wewe because Babu ni mnoma.
But you know
that will always prove that even Babu ni bazu.
Even Baba was backed up by the previous government in any way. You know, even if
he was backed up by the president, but even without the backing up, only mtu akona anakuona yake. But sasa ebu imagine Sakaja without the backup. You know that there's a person when he comes with his own thunder, and there's someone who has to borrow the thunder.
So that's where the political acumen comes in.
So I feel like, and Babu said that in a year he wants to be the MP, and then he became the MP. He wants to be the governor, after the governor, the president. You know?
Yeah, that's similar to.
He doesn't aim.
Similar to President Ruto, in as much as he might have his own shortcomings, but I find him a political. Get me right. He is politically witty.
Yeah.
He's politically witty.
Yule mtu mwenye aki-aim. Ana mirama, ana make
what of Odinga? What of Odinga?
Now let me tell you.
Odinga amekuwa
in as much as you might
zina mess to
let me tell you. In as much as you might say Odinga is
missing his shots.
But I find Odinga the master. He's the chess player in all of this. Because look at it.
No government without
him.
Unamshindaga afu unamuhitaji tena. check bana.
No government without him.
Tujua.
And again, Raila has been relevant all those times. Till date, Raila is still relevant because
the way he's maintained.
Yeah. That's why they're saying Raila has 9 political lives. You might think after this election is done, then it's like rejuvenated.
For any election, when you totally mshinda.
But I thought
hapa yeye anasemenya cheki ila nyamena. This time atapack na ende. And then this nigga comes with something else. Amekutopo na you remember the alianza rally time ya protest, alianza hii protest hakuna mtu alikuwa nadhani this is a protest or something because the guy alianza na a video being recorded with him anatoka kwake akitembea tu from him walking kupanda gari and then gari moja na kam ya pili ya tatu ya nne and now people have surrounded na watu wanamsindikiza town and now everything in town is
so Raila is has mastered the laws of power because he knows how to remain relevant. If there is anything a politician fears to lose, is relevance.
Yeah.
And Raila has been relevant all the time. So Raila is a political guru.
He is.
So do you know these political powers? Can you mention some, but just a few of the political powers that can make me relevant if I...
The laws of power.
See, 48 book of
48 laws of Robert Greene. Most, in fact, if you look at Ruto's...
nilisoma intwaje hiyo whatever yake nitwaje this thing that you read before reading a book.
Prologue.
Yeah, nilisoma tu prologue yake. It was amazing. And then nikasoma hizo your tablet iko na hizo laws and everything. I didn't really go into it. I just read about the laws.
Your time nilikuwa na vai kwa prefect nilikuwa na isoma. Now this is how I want to act. Be silent. Use a sucker to catch a sucker. Never outshine your master.
So you can read it, but if you can't live you can't live it. Even though
but if you look at Ruto, I feel like Ruto has mastered the laws. Because I was looking at him, I'm trying to look at the videos like when he was the deputy president then. He never tried to show his boss that he was
the bazeng.
And most of the time he would praise, Uhuru.
Even after the Tanga.
Yeah, but and again he was very powerful. He was the hard man within the government then. In as much as Uhuru was the president, but the hand man, mtu wa connect mawaya hapa na pale, was him. And he never seemed to outshine the master. So like if you look at him, he's someone who, if you look at what Robert Greene writes in his book, because he's the author of 48 Laws of Power, the 33 strategies of war is Sun Tzu. 33 strategies of war, the laws of nature. I mean, you like see his moves and see there is some sort of inclination towards those very principles. Anyway,
but he's been there. He's been doing politics for a long time. He's mastered it, because what come Gachagua, Ruto, you hear the names right? 1990s. They are the ones in the Moi's boy. The Moi boys when you're gonna two more. They were the goons before even politics out.
YK92 and the likes.
So like hizo ni jina maybe mtu mwenye ajui ndo ataona ni kama unajua msali kwa hustler from the uni hustler manze. The people who still believe that Ruto was really before getting deputy president, before deputy alikuwa nobody.
And yet he was a minister.
And he was
a minister with the Grand Coalition government. The guy at the same time member of parliament for Eldoret.
Because yeye ni ule mtu mwenye he was not chosen by Uhuru because he has money. Because Kenya family sasa ndo the definition ya do. Yes, sasa alichuziwa because of the influence. Yeye aliona yeye Ruto.
Ukiangalia Ruto alienda kasoma Moi Institution of Political Education. After hiyo akaenda kapiga attachment kidogo kwa siasa za Uhuru when they were doing the KANU thing. Baada ya hapa akakuja akafanya masters kwa Raila School of Politics. You know, Raila has one style of politics. He believes Because when he was in Moi's time, he used money to buy your way out of things. But in Raila, use the love people have for you to get to the places you have. So he mastered all these things. Then akamaliza akasema acha niende nipige 3-year internship. Kwa Jubilee government. Bwana wewe ni jamaa amepiga siasa bwana.
Akapiga tu mazee na akakuwa deputy. Na kasab na kwa impeached. Imagine even after the handshake. People, people saw that Anyali was outside the government
because,
and everything.
The reason why Ruto could not even be impeached, he had ground. Because for the second term, Uhuru, in fact, even from the first term, his main aim was to win Mount Kenya. Considering what had happened before the 2013 election, courtesy of the violence in 2007 that pitted the Kalenjins and it was a rough kind of association. So he knew his way out of it was to inherit the Mount Kenya region, which he did for the 4 years. That's why kutoa yule jamaa ingekuwa ngumu. No wonder he had the Mount Kenya, because by then Mount Kenya claimed that Ruto was their kingpin. And Ruto was
Ruto wasn't even a tribesman.
So when jamaa bwana, in as much as I don't agree with most of what he says, and
it's a plain lie. Shida yenye hapo nayo peke yake tu. He's someone who lies. He's a very
selective honesty.
Yani ni selective. Kama ni generosity is selective. Kama ni honesty pia wewe unajua place ya ku. But he lies a lot and the lies now are catching up with him. That is why he just gets it all wrong. Ni kitu kila mtu anaweza ku. Na yeye pia anajua vizuri that he is leading in a digital era. Na sasa hii your past ile Kenya ulifanya last week ilikuwa recorded na msee. Unasema tu something opposite mtu ana share. Unaona si jana ulisema hivi kwani leo umechange tena. And he's someone who is very akona cramming power basa. Because I heard that guy before a speech anapewa speech kabisa hivi ana cram roads. Akikuja hapa yeye anajua hiyo njia kutoka Kokuro kuja hapo Soni. Hapo from Soni kuna achana na hii tamaka. Kuna nyingine ya round hivi unaweza terunga na ile boda. Kwenda He knows.
Barabara itoka ikuje boda.
I was looking at kuna hiyo TikTok video that I saw about hizo centers he was talking about. Elwag and Bodo and whatever. Man,
zilikuwa zimefuatana.
Bana na unaona umse yako right. Na hii kitu yenye alipewa na mtu anajua the area na akaikram vizuri na akakuja akapeana hiyo PR na akatoka hapo na kaenda pengine. If you ask him saiji na hizo roads ajui.
But I call it a politician syndrome. Because I've never met a politician who can tell you the truth. Really?
Wanakuwa wale watu
waongo.
Mimi nikisikia tu mzee akiongea and then after kuongea ama niaje mtu wangu. Hapo tu naanza ku
amna
namna gani za hapo umeanza kuwa zile zenye you want my opinion on yes or no. Zile ama unaona aje?
Unajua yeye ama namna gani? Hauna option.
It's always the affirmative.
Yeah, you must affirm what
iko sawa.
Si hapo ni sawa.
Chonjo.
Like there are people who will not give you an option like ama nitoke ama niende. No.
Niseme nisiseme.
And have you noticed that like some of the leaders want to emulate this type of politics? Even how he does is because they would remember, because I've looked at how Rigiji used even to talk, and I remember one of the few speeches Ruto made was like, I'll groom some of these leaders on how to talk to the people. And shortly I could see Ishungwa, Rigiji, even Kibike now I see it. They want to like address they want to address people like how Ruto does. Nipange maneno kidogo yenu. Nataka nifanye namna hii. Fanye
na ile. You feel like people feel like they are the ones controlling you. Na wajui wewe ndo unawapanga.
Anawapanga.
You act like you're the people's slave, like you're the eye of the people. So mimi kenye umesema. Mimi kenye umesema mimi nitafanya.
And that's and if you look at how Ruto used to talk during the campaigns in the same tone.
Yes.
Amna namna gani? And remember when he came to Kondele. Oh, ni nyinyi. I mean, he knows how to talk. The one that nimetii kuliko zote is when he came to Riri. That was even before the broad-based whatever. And he was like, si mnakumbuka mara ile nyingine? Si tulikuwa pande moja na baba? Si nilikuwa ODM? Si mimi ndio nilikuwa secretary general? Nilipigania baba, sikupigania. And you're like, ulipigania. Tulipambana tu kupambana.
Mlipambana.
Anakumbusha kwa something hata wewe you knew that yenyewe hapa alikuwa kwa mess.
Tulishinda tu kushinda.
Tulishinda.
Sasa tofauti ya jamaa wa ODM wakati ule na baba ni gani? Bro, si amewawin. Yeah, so
he just know.
He knows. And that's why I say if we give politicians relevance, we still have a long way to go. Provided that
they're the ones who have studied the 48 laws. Bro, before ukue politician hebu chukua hii book
utandike
na hii and then sasa uanze kujua how to lie. You know how to lie not plainly but with a lot of grace. No, because even the way he delivers the speeches, kama wewe mtu mjui, this is the guy. The people who really voted Ruto anyway, say wako like, we made a mistake. I made a mistake because they've seen the videos. Niggas kama ni track record. Unaweza una videos hivi na videos zake ndo zinamshika sasa. So I tend to think that now what is going on with him, I feel like he's vouching for US and he's vouching for Russia at the same time. Na nataka story like Ruto is not taking sides. He's the one guy mimi napendea hapo. In international politics hapo napendea because he's been out everywhere getting money. Not taking sides.
I feel like he's trying to act smart with the superpowers around. When it comes to world politics, most of the time it's more they require standing. The reason why Jaramogi Oginga Odinga was removed from his role as the vice president in 1966. That was only 3 years into
the vice president.
Yeah, and after attaining independence, 3 years only, when Kenya was still a toddler. By then there was a Cold War between the West and the East, between those who are for communism and capitalism. Oginga sided more with the communists. That was the Soviet Union by then, USSR. While those who were for capitalists, Kenyatta and the likes, was capitalists, fight for you sweat for what you want to eat. Yeah, so that was the then.
You can see even hata decision alimake tu yenye unapewa leadership unasema tungoje Kenyatta. That one move. Okay, national loyalty, okay, but
it's more of a communist bearing in it. So yes. That was the then geopolitics. But for now I'm not really aware or sure if it's more of like a Cold War right now. But it's more.
It's been for a long time, but it is.
Yeah, I can't really pinpoint.
The country.
I really can't pinpoint on what now. But of course, we do understand that these superpowers are not really reading from the same script.
Yeah.
Right now, because we have China on one end, we have Russia on one end.
China believes that USA runs on its economy, because without them supplying what they supply and doing what they do, economical wise to the United States, then it doesn't remain this way. And they try to prove that by hizo sanctions orders in Trump alieka They just said we want to pause, not exporting anything to the United States for just 1 week to more. And people really complained.
Yeah, tariff wars.
Yeah.
So every superpower is drawing each corner of the ring.
Like me, Mazenga on this. He might be having all the nuclears and everything, but I produce this.
But I feel like he has played a solo ball. He has not.
It's a good thing.
He has not leaned on one side. So for now, he's dribbling the ball alone.
Anafanya
because some it's a US Yuko, some it's a China Yuko. So
I remember there was a time when US was like, this guy is double dealing. He's sitting on the fence so much. Yeah. So
I've had whatever Trump. I mean, each time I'm gonna address his story now. Each time I'm gonna ongelesha president wa South Africa kwake kama mtoto mdogo. Gonna get the speech and everything, and then they were playing this video of Malema, and when you position South Africa in a Noma, the guy is saying death to the whites and everything, and it was very.
That's all. Actually, the song was used during the apartheid rule. Remember, South Africa was then having the Boers who had a British descent. As their masters in SA, and by then agriculture was a revolution.
Yeah. But you see what they did there. I don't think that your transition between the apartheid time and this time it's more of it's two things that are different, because back then it was all about the whites. It was all about the black against the whites. But right now, the way they were, the difference is about some of the races. Because the people who really own properties there that have been, I think they have been just, they have been in South Africa for so long that they are now South Africanized.
Yeah.
You see. By birth and by history and by originally. Yeah. So you can't tell me that you just want to uproot all the things, and that is what the president is telling Malema, that you can't uproot these people by the roots, because Malema is all is saying uproot them with the roots and everything, so that they can just pack and
leave.
Equally, you can't punish the son.
If that was the case,
punishing the father,
then I saw Trump argue that even the Africans, but who are here,
he was saying to the
so it's
African American who are there.
It's not fair for them to have them.
But United States utafukuza kila mtu, because there's no one who really owns there except the red.
But even
people who originally were there.
Even as we say,
kila mtu hapo new US, kila mtu.
What took them there was work. Even the Boers who came to Africa,
yes.
The Africans then were slaves who were working in this Boers farm.
Yeah.
That's why the song that Malema sang, I remember I watched his campaign tour.
He'll play you up.
Then he had like this stand. He came later June, then he sang the song. Ilikuwa noma, ilikuwa deep.
Zile ndo campaign, bro.
Bana hadi nikasema bwana.
Zile ndio campaign.
Zile campaign tunaita Diamond ni gani?
Zile ndo campaign.
Stadium imejaa.
Imejaa. Ndio Malema na Clam venye vibes katana alikam. Kama Clam alikuja, the first concert alikuwa amehave after the prison part, alikuwa anatoka from the ground.
So Malema alisimama. Alianza tu kuinuka akiimba.
Then people are there.
Then the song inaenda shoot to kill. Pa, shoot to kill. Pa. And you know kuna band. Shoot the Boer. Pa.
South Africa na wana politic.
Na bado akabaki na yo. That's the pain.
No, you see, ule mse sasa ni kama, but amekuwa relevant for long time vile sasa.
Yeye pia ni Raila.
Ni Raila wa huko sasa.
Ni Raila from Alibaba.
Raila at least anakuwa na is a conservative ndio, but pia
Raila knows how to play his card.
He's not radical. Kuna time anakuwa general ametulia. Except the rallies now. But ako rally watu wenye namfuata ndio watakuwa chaotic, but yeye hata 1 2 3 words. But sasa Malema is the radical one. Malema, all the videos I've watched about Malema, he's always radical. So I think people and politics in South Africa, but I think it's still so unfair because the whites are still owning the properties and everything. So as the end, but I feel like the same nation.
I feel like we should have a more transition or transformative type of politics, because when I talk to my cousin in the States, are you a Democrat? When you Baba or that type of thing, they are like,
policies. Are you a Democrat? I'm a Republican. You too.
I'm a Democrat because
Elon Musk is an American.
I'm a Republican because this and this and this. I identify to these policies against all LGBT, blah blah blah. I'm a Democrat because I believe in empowering of Africans, blah blah blah. But for us is I'm from this region.
Abado tukutuna hiyo tribalistic politics.
And that's why I was saying, by virtue of still having counties, I slowly feel like to some extent counties have fostered tribalism.
For counties in
the devolution, not entirely. But another ripple effect from it. Because you're only fixed to having Luos around, which is not bad. It is okay, because even so, we still had how were they called?
Counties. Okay. Me, I feel like
Izile Majimbo provinces. We would still be having.
But at least with the provinces, they were bigger.
So they allowed it.
And the people were marginalized. At least your province moja ungepata Kisii, because province yetu ni kwa Nyanza. Kisii wa Nyanza province, unaona. Kulikuwa na Waluya wengine wenye pia ni wa Nyanza hapa. So it was beautiful. So, sasa hii kila mtu akona county yake. Kisii unaona county. So unaona part of the reason Kuria wants their own county is to have them on their own. So to some extent counties have having devolved governments or devolution, fueled. The politicians are winning from that, man. The more people,
because
more relevant.
If someone could come from Kisii, akuja simama hapa Migori, then we would be like, no, now we are talking when it comes to the only regions where you can vie. If you're not Mombasa, if you're not
hata Kisumu si mention because Kisumu wezi mention because uwezi hata kama wewe si mjana.
Sisi tuko na nani?
Shabir.
Ni governor.
But he alitolewa is not part of
mbunge.
Hadi sahi. Okay.
Shabir bado ni mbunge.
Wapi?
Kisumu East.
And
no, Kisumu East sahi ni Abuyu.
That's Abuyu.
Rose.
But Rose Abuyu. But Sakesa bit badoni.
I'm in Kisumu West. One of them, but I remember he was a name.
That guy always sumulized. Kama amekuwa hapo for we're talking about someone who kutoka Nairobi, amekuja hapa for 1 year ya campaign na anataka tumpe. That is what we're talking about.
Like for instance, 2027 is around the corner. Sasa mimi ndasimama Migori. Ndasimama Migori.
Impossible, unaona? Watu wanataka ule mtu anaweza relate naye. Okay, kwao ni pale, alienda US kidogo karudi, alianza hivi biashara ni nini. People really want that. You have to be like centralized. Penye unataka kura, hapo ndio wewe like central place yako.
Even man you could see. The reason I'm saying that
in US.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. You saw a Kisii lady being a what in the States.
Being mayor,
something like that. Because of how policy oriented their politics is.
Wenyewe wakisiwa wameja US kuzali wamezana. Wakisiwa ku US manze. Specifically wakisi US.
US is like their second home.
Center ya Kisii. Watu wakisi wamejaa hapo wanatafuta passport. Ni wao tu. Wakisi mjaluo mmoja kwa hapo kwa
wakisi wanataka kuenda. Wakisi wanataka kuenda mtelinga. Hakuna tuenda US kwa wakisi.
Kama jana sasa nimeenda pale church yetu walikuwa na mwaga hiyo mchanga hapo. Kwa hiyo nini? alafu napata wakisi, alafu nauliza hey to wani joloka emukeluka ologini, like Jokisi said they dominated that part and they were doing that work so well. Wajaka wenye walikuwa hapo ndani yao walikuwa moja kueleza.
You remember the one we interviewed, alikuwa amesema is just there to for this time, and then your time ya kwenda US ikifika is she gone. We came to see. So mimi, even my Kisii friend, mimi nimesoma primary huko partly in Kisii. So bro, watu wenye tumesoma nao wengi wa Kisii wako US, wengi from Saugongo pia, specifically all Kisiis nimesoma nao high school wako US. We imagine all Kisiis, because we had 3 Kisiis in our class. What wako US? We had no Kisiis in Gamba mixed, obviously, but in Saugongo we had. So I think there's just something, there's some button wanajua and then wanaitana pia. So
no, I don't know. I've worked with Kisiis.
Yes.
I've worked with Kisiis.
Something wanapendana.
The moment wamesikia tu kuna chance imetokea hapo, anakuambia niko na ndugu yangu. So ngoja tu kitu useme anataka kwenda kwenu, kwa kina nani wako wapi. Unapata mwenye alikuwa anasema ni ndugu yake, labda anatoka hapa na yeye anatoka huko Rapogi. Hakuna hata relationship, bora tu ni Mkisii.
Au ni mandugu sasa, ni ndugu yake.
Au wanapendana. That's why they wanavurutana.
But then I feel just like I keep on saying, we are spiritual beings. Really, what you say to yourself, what you say about yourself, that is what you become. Unaona hiki tu maybe walianza tu moja alafu sasa kila mtu around the country wako zile za wakisimanze wanaenda majuu, and that thing we keep saying about them,
the stereotype works for them.
Inazidi kuwa manze wanaenda because of what you say.
Kila mtu anajua mnaenda majuu na wewe Mkisii, wewe unazende majuu,
and what you say is what you become.
Mimi Mkisii na kila mtu Kenya anajua tunaenda sisi hata
manze, and it becomes part of you. Na unaenda unajaribu hivi because you believed in that. Manze unapata umeenda yenyewe mimi ni Mkisii, anaambia tena ndugu yake afanye hivyo. So it's more of what we say about ourselves, and
so unadhani mtu akiwa Mkisii aende pale kesi ya huyu mwenye ako na position US msee, unadhani huyu mtu mwenye ameenda tu hapo for fulani, that means maybe the father came and then maybe alizaliwa pale. Yes, she has
stayed there for
because maybe 10 years of studies, then kabado unaweza
maybe ilikuwa green card.
Of course, yes, green card.
Wewe wazazi wake wako hapa Kisii.
Ni green card
tu huko kivyake.
Ni green card ukienda pale una citizenship after how long?
Sijasoma.
I think 10.
Yeah, 10 years. Na unaweza uko na citizenship au you are right, so
you are a citizen. You have equal rights.
Huko ukisema I need this because of this, watakusikiliza, huyu anataka kufanya hivi, unataka kufanya hivi.
You can imagine yeah, but within 10 years ameshapen accent yake imekuwa, because you can imagine from Kisii to English na kutoa hiyo accent ya Ukisii ndani ya English kwanza, unaona, like you must take some years kutoa tu Ukisii in your English, because I've been taught I've been taught English in Kisii schools with the Kisii's teachers, and I can tell you the truth, there were teachers who knew English but in the Kisii accent. Umeona mtu anaongea English ya Kikisii, so kutoa tu hiyo kitu kwanza.
I was having a friend alikuwa ananiambia that for Kisiis the accent will change, for Luyas the accent will change, for Kikuyus the accent will change. But Aluo who went to the States 30 years ago will still address Omera bwana. I'm just landed.
Sisi tunaona that tuko na deep roots sana, then our language inaendana na any language. Me you feel like our language is very very beautiful. Inaweza kuwa mixed easily. na any other.
I was airborne just a few minutes ago. Kora Selawar.
So like it's all about unajua sisi sidhani kama watu wako majuu wajoli wako majuu of course sidhani kama wana escape from our roots. We feel like the more and majuu even when Mologas alikuwa huko he was telling us that ukina majuu the more now you miss home. The more now you want to even like maintain roots. You want to listen to a handler more than you are listening in Kenya. Because you feel like now I just say kumajuu and no one else is really practicing my culture here, so I must really stick to my culture. Let me see. I don't get winded out by the Western culture. So you try to keep to your roots sana ukiwa outside than ukiwa hapa. Ukiwa hapo unataka kuongea kama mniga fulani, unataka kuongea hiyo English ya majuu and everything, but ukiwa majuu pia.
But you know,
you want to stick
equally those countries abroad, they teach you to celebrate diversity.
Yes.
Most of them want you to enjoy or appreciate the fact that you are different. And it's not like they want you to.
That is only in the US, bro.
It's not like they feel that you feel that even if say by virtue of you being different, when you say bye, no, they want you to enjoy.
But the people that you know, specific countries.
Funnily enough, Kenya ndio utapata bwana ama huku nchi zetu.
Yeah.
Being diverse sasa it's actually wrong. You say unasikizaje wa Angla Buddha?
Not only Kenya. Not only Kenya.
Unasikiza kama za kijaka bana. Wewe ni kienyeji.
Imagine
unapata hizo nguo za kiushago. When you wear
in music music video may grow with time. You cannot talk cost or joan.
Hey bro, man. Yeah. I identify that.
Yeah, say if the low music it's very
it's more traditional.
Na feel kama watu wajaluo even
you can identify to it. Yeah,
you can identify with it too. We have more than people when wanafanya sisi tunataka na tu wanatuletea the old wanatu mix with the new and then it's beautiful.
Yeah.
There's a Benga tunes zinakuwa mixed with the rumba tunes
and even then ya titi.
Yeah. People can really celebrate and squeeze it's cool. It's not weird to know low music kama kitambo because squeeze you can be well learned and umemoka tu kwa Nairobi and everything, lakini unapenda Costa, unapenda Kilomax, bado unapenda Emma. It's cool to go to Prince Inda and Emma and everything. It's cool. Yeah, it's cool to even sing their songs squeeze. Because see watu wa Angla when you wanna dance na walo, no. There are people who wear suits, the people who have cars, the people who have a life apart from the music. So na feel kama yenyewe siku hizi kwa identify na culture yetu si ushamba.
Issue I think
the accent
the issue is equating civilization to acquiring a foreign culture. I think that was the wrong notion that was sold to us. Because imagine
you're civilized more if you know.
You're civilized. Unajua
you can speak Kizungu fluently
that you're more civilized if you don't have the Luo accent. That you're more civilized if you don't have the S.
Is it a lie?
No. Me, I believe that it is okay to be different. It is okay to have that accent. Yeah, that is you. You cannot disown your origin.
Unasema jo utasimama kwa na dem anakona accent kwa stage afu ni aje bibi gani? Kwa unasema aje? Hapo sasa utaanza stories. Okay, kuna dati.
Ulikuwa unataka aje?
I'm telling you bro. Bro bana accent.
Kuna juzi
tushakuwa hivyo.
Juzi nilikatia mkisi fulani alikuja hapa kwa nini? But studio anyway. You see, I told you one of the parks I enjoy as a photographer.
I know. I know.
Beautiful chicks. Sasa huyu akakuja nikatumia some very beautiful work. Unajua I watch politics so much. Politics zingine zinakuanga na nini ndani, na some beauty ndani. Hizo ndo natumia kwa madem. Anatoka kwa mlanga kisha sema yes.
Okay.
So udem alikuwa mrembo bana, lakini akibonga kisi ndani man. Yani ilikuwa inaniturn off.
I'm telling you, accent is
Siku moja alifanya tu mistake moja hivi. Mwambia usiwahi rudi huko. Juu ya hiyo accent. Haikuwa ni hiyo mistake ndio ilifanya eti.
But it was fueled by accent. Ulisema unafanya mistake na pia hata accent yako pia.
Now let me ask you a very honest question. Why that you had an accent? Would you be okay if you are judged for it?
No.
No, I wouldn't.
Because born of judge.
Let me tell you, if I had an accent, if I had an accent and someone has an accent, I want to know kama kuna accent. Like check Kenyeji kikutana na Kenyeji ajuanage ati sasa huyu Kenyeji because they just click, you know, they just click.
Naona mwalimu wangu fulani amesave jina ya community Mbaruka na ni Mbaluka. Sasa najiuliza, yani huyu jamaa no, that's Atapa. I had a friend akitaka kusema loyal anasema royal.
Probably ni kesi.
And even funny ilikuwa inafika time anaandika hadi time anaandika muuliza bwana huwezi ona difference like
ni R na L.
Then I forget to remember that hadi sisi tuko na shida ya S
na H.
SH.
No, but sijai make a mistake kwa kuandika. Kuandika sasa ni extreme.
But lakini
umeandika fish at fish. Ukaandika fish. Alafu uko na enyewe iko sawa. Because the people who write it hadi waisome hadi yeye kwake iko sawa
without even noticing. But you know that's why we enjoy
diversity. Hata kama diversity manzi.
Nabi
kwa na accent there's nothing.
That's why I believe because I always have this discussion with my friends that wewe ukiwa mkubwa watoto wako watajua lugha yao. Let's say mimi sasa that my kids watajua
lugha ya
Kijaka. And then they're like zizi buda mimi watoto wangu bwana ni watu wamechanuka bwana.
Na mimi
stories za kujua wataongea nani watajua bwana mbongesha ngozo. Then you see that type of how do I call it,
but is
miss what that's the word miss imepotea. But that type of thinking or mindset it's wrong.
It is.
Ndio maana unapata bana
I don't want to believe you but
not now. Sindio? Unapata bana you get more joy bana when you go to a place where you can speak your language with someone else. Sindio?
Na umepata that hiyo joy unaipataga ukiwa Nairobi
most of the time.
Because you're far from home now.
This
and
time
you can get people who are the same as you.
So this time I was working to Makasi. Then nika spot what like funnily enough coincidentally what niliongea nao were apparently from this side. Nikasema tokaremba kazi kaje uliwanga jamani hadi and they laughed because I just thought that we were so many by just meeting five.
Bro, it's ina joy hata watatu ukimitu mmoja miaje ukimitena mwingine adhabu unasema then because you never thought unajua hapa you are very comfortable okay anyone you see around is hello but huko sasa bado uko chwani. So I feel like mimi accent inateka muda mimi ataachana hata na madem hata boys tu mimi accent inakuaga it doesn't matter who you are. Ukiwa tuna good accent your conversation yetu itakuwa longer.
But I remember when I was joining campus I had an accent. So the reasons why I really worked so much on my accent. Sasa mimi sijui ilikuwa inawakalia comedy bana. People used to enjoy kusikiza bana. Like ilikuwa inani walikuwa so venye nikisema nilete hiyo kikombe. Nataka warudie. Wanataka warudie. Hebu sema tena.
This chicken alikuwa na accent but
umetoka far.
The time I enjoyed actually the time I appreciate diversity is when we were reading set books. So I had like
that was such a time.
Five friends. So this friend hata kabla tukusoma tunaishi. In fact because you know what's coming. You would switch positions.
Yes.
Atusome sana mwambia. Alikuwa kuna this time alikuwa anasema mwalimu let us a shoe.
I'm telling you kulikuwa na mtu kama in every class. Wanataka kumia.
Mielane.
Mimi ndo kolera ile bwana kwa vile. Haya, nikria biro.
Sawa. In how many minutes time yani?
20 minutes. 10 minutes. Wana udera.
Sawa.
So maybe I enjoy diversity, but not in a way of just losing your accent or anything. Because me I feel kama if you just went mimi tako excuse kama jenda shule. Mimi naona Kisizi who can speak to you and you don't know who this is a Kisi. I really appreciate mtu kama huyo mwenye anaweza niongelesha bila najaribu ku read the lips vizuri kwa Kisizi guess. Mluya Kisi nini anakuambia mimi mtu mtaita. Hey! Bro, I really appreciate mtu mwenye anaweza kuongelesha hivyo without you knowing the whatever the tribe he is from, the ethnicity anatoka. That means that at least ni mtu ameenda shule. It's not like he's running away from his whatever his roots or something. Tamiangoso kama tunaweza changanya kama sisi ni Wajaluo fit changanya ndio, lakini uwezi ongea English kama Mjaluo. Uchukue Ujaluo yako uweke ndani ya English, unajua hapo utakuwa umeenda kidogo outside. I've met Luos pia when you just know how to speak. Wezi ambia this guys are Luo until
especially when they speak Kiswahili.
But Luos na Kiswahili pia inakuwa very easy now to identify.
That's why I feel like Kiswahili is one of the languages we need to hold on.
Because English is easier for any Luo. But like Kiswahili now,
even as a country,
before you train,
if I've listened to Swahili songs kitambo nilikuwa mimi siwezi bongo mie. So then nikasikiza kukudekeza kama mtoto. Nikasema hiyo lugha unafurahia.
Mimi juzi ndo nilikuwa nasikiza Diamond sasa hizo songs vizuri. Nikasikiza kumbe binti anaitwa Mwali. Binti yani msichana anaitwa Mwali.
Kidogo hiyo huko unajua.
Sikuwa najua msichana anaitwa Mwali. Nikapata Mwali manze nikachiti kana Mwali.
Hiyo ni ngoma yake gani? I can relate bro.
Yeah nyamemba.
Sikomi. I think naweza relate hata na lyrics. Sikieni.
There's nothing I enjoy like someone speaking fluent Swahili.
Alafu sikiza songs za Mbosso tena sasa uta appreciate sasa kuna
ule sasa ni shairi.
Lugha chafu ndani ya ushairi hapo utapenda bana.
Mtoto kama bata.
Kama kuna hii song ameimba kwenye what kuna kirungu usikamate utawaita wazi.
That's a collab with Mbosso and
kwenye longi kuna kirungu usikamate utawaita.
That is by Coco. This boy like they're dirty and soft way, in a very mimi napenda watu wanajua kucheza na language hivyo. Tanzania pia kuna Kiswahili yake sana English ya South Africa sasa ya kusisitiza. I'm trying to watu wanasisitiza the T words in it. So, beautiful culture yetu pia hapa.
Put it on the table.
Jamaica pia ile pia
from Jamaica. Me people.
Music iko very diverse. Napenda diversity ya kila kitu but especially music. Hapo ndio unajua language ya kila mtu. It's beautiful. Hata English yenye sasa mkisia atasema kwa ngoma it's very very different. Because ona mtu kanyash sasa. Bro, you'll go utaenda uweza urudi hapa utaniambia nyashi ni Mkisi until you know the surname go like what? Because vitu zote hata vya anaongea Kiswahili English there's no trace of Kikisi in that guy. But he's a Kisi. So inakwambia nyewe msee ni mtu mwenye at least alichukua accent akaweka na akasema let me be a Kenyan.
Sasa umejua Nyasha amekaa US, unaona?
Nyasha hajakaa US.
Nyasha amekaa US time alikuwa na transport.
Yes, amekuwa for some years ndio, lakini most of the years of his life amekuwa hapa. Tena Kisii tu. Unaona? Ni wale watu wenye wa Kisii wenye grow up Nairobi nini. So nadhani alilose tu accent yake before hata US. Wa Kisii grow up Nairobi wanaga hiyo rapa. Hata wajaluo wako Nairobi wanaga hiyo accent sana. Ni sisi wetu huku ndo lazima.
What is my accent? Unajua hadi mimi nimekaanga tu chini hao like
ni ile you are venye unaona ukiwa huku you speak Kijaka more, and then ukitaka kuongea Kiswahili utaiongea like there is a tone in which we will eat kikombe. Kikombe.
Hii kitu kikombe.
And then Kiswahili sasa pia nilete hiyo kikombe. Yaani ni kama tu bado kuna tu penye bado uko na iko aligned na
Kijaka.
Iko tu ni Kijaka tu.
But that is right. That is very true. I feel kama if your primary language ni Kijaluo, and then kwa shule pia unapata kama primary language ya shule bado ni Kijaluo, definitely lazima uwe na accent hata kama ni English.
Ni hata kafela alikuwa anafanya drama. So kwa hiyo drama yake alikuwa anafanya role ya Luo teacher. Na he was a Luo. So he did the role so well and he got the accent kabisa. Hadi director judges walisema this guy is not a student of this school. We jamaa mmempoa. We don't expect this.
He was so good.
Bro. He was too good with the accent. Alikuwa anaitwa Jatelo. So unajua nini ya Kishengi neka Jatelo. But hiyo jina ni Jatelo.
Jatelo.
Even when the drama guys are doing it, Teacher Jatelo. And it's Teacher Jatelo. So I get why you're saying the intonation, because the way you stress even is different.
Sasa kienda Nairobi kuna venye utaita hiyo kikombe ina way
hiyo kikombe wazi.
Lete kikombe
no bwana.
But me unajua venye kuongea Kijaluo inakuwa beautiful, but sasa kuichanganya pia inakuwa more beautiful, lakini sasa
especially kani Kizungu we had agreed kijoka nikabuono the thing one of the team is in the final stages koro adibuoma kijoka.
You feel inaingia like bro, inaingiana vizuri, inaingiana vitamu, ni tamu hata kuliko Kijaluo mzee. I'm telling you, English na Kijaluo bro, hiyo combination ni noma. So combination hizi languages pia sisi tumpata yetu, maybe wakisi wajapata tu yao. Yeah, maybe ni kama Kigiriama na Kiswahili inaingiana, combination yao inaingia. I've been in Mombasa, I've seen Giriama and Waambaje. Ukiambia mtu Waambaje mzee, and this is Giriama coming to Kiswahili, it's almost the same, inaendana tu. Basi sasa ukikuja na nimeenda Kisii sana, kuja na combination ya Kiluya na English.
Kiluya kuna Kiswahili pia. Kuna Kiswahili.
Kiluya na Kizungu yani.
Kiluya na Kizungu. Inaweza nani?
Kiluya Kiswahili.
Kiluya Kiswahili.
Kiswahili na Indiana.
Kabisa. Zinaingiana?
Hujaipata ndiposa. Mtu venye watu wa Swahili wako na ndiposa. Nileteko. Ipatavyo.
Ipasavyo.
Anwani.
I think in that part
kuna siku niliambia jamaa hiyo ni anwani. Akaniuliza ni Mluya jamaa.
Kuna vitu zenye hiyo ni kisawa ya nini?
Address.
Hiyo lazima translate na kukumbuka. Anwani chanya.
Hiyo kwa Kiswahili. Like alikuwa shocked.
Anwani
Kiswahili.
Yeah, it's actually word. But yenyewe inalegea pale kwa Uluya sana. Anwani tu. Aluali. Anwani. Nana watch news jana ati kesho. Jana manzi atuambie what's going on in I've been offline for a bit. So say what's
everything is around Saba. And of course the deaths, the looting that occurred, the injuries.
Sasa watu walilondo wanakashifu watu venye maana watu wanawasibia watu sisi wenye tumekuwa we've been in this mix for all this time size.
Yeah, so that's going on in the country.
No, it's all about Saba. How pia wanajaribu kwa relevant sasa hivi wezi anything kwa news kasi hiyo.
Yeah, by the way,
that news what we watch.
Current affairs.
It's not current.
And you have to also buy in the emotions, because at times those guys write very erroneous articles just to feed on the desires and the
kama standard man, the standard
wanajua
standard
Sasa leo first page they know how to sell magazines.
In fact we should have ile ku discuss the standard.
Yenye bado kwa akili yangu ni yo the devil wears kaunda and realize his tailor.
Hapo
hiyo ni kwa gani?
Hapo ilitoka.
Hiyo bado inakuanga kwa akili yangu na
umsa alikuwa na guts.
That's why sometimes
huyu the one of standard anaitwa nani? Sinjo
ni familia moja.
Ni familia moja. That's why for you to be a politician you need to have slogans, so now everyone is relating to hi cousins.
Yeah.
One tab. Hustler. Haya. BBI. Sasa amekuja na national conclave. Last year we should set up a national conclave. Raila is smart one. Yes, terms. Yeah, BBI. He had resist. Remember the resist era?
Yeah.
He had broad-based.
Broad-based, yeah.
Sasa kuna national conclave. Kulikuwa na NASA. Remember?
Yes.
Inawezekana.
He knows. Akona terms
zingine that rallies people.
Do you think that akona mtu anathinki maneno ama ni yetu anajifikirilia?
I can't tell, but I think he has a team also.
Of thinkers.
Think tank. Raila think tank.
Get calm. Just put this one.
Baba sani my madigini.
My kelo.
But he has to make the decisions.
Baba
options.
Asto korembo medo mare kwenye moro kwenye
okay, this one ni na mimi sana. And how about this thing I heard about Ruto building a church instead of?
Oh yeah, that has been also a very controversial topic.
Build a church. An actual church.
You can't really tell, but the very few people access State House anyway. But I'm not defending.
But Ruto,
he confirmed. He confirmed that he's building a church.
He's building a church. Any place that is a front.
Nimefeel tu yani.
But kusema yeye anajenga na pesa yake bwana, kwani wewe jamaa anatuonaje bana?
Mbona asijenge kwake anajenga?
Maybe he just want to solidify his stay in State House. Like hata Caprizo mimi atakuwa like yet I call it a State House church. So chiki church ni yangu, so mimi lazima nikujage State House. So he's trying to do something that me say I don't, if I hear something in news I just want to translate it differently, because these people really don't tangu nisikie Antonani this big dog, the whatever, the top G Antonani, this guy is very controversial pia anapoga maju
Alutate.
Tangu nisikie tena kisema just get ahead of yourself. The news is not for you. Like, you think you're very special that the government wants to tell you everything he's doing. Get ahead of yourself. They tell you things that they want you to know. And how they want to, and when. Sasa hiyo wameshafanya vitu 10 na bado hutaki ujue, so hautajua. So the news is just meant to just tell you something that kitu you wanna feel ni kama
they want to keep you around their business.
Yeah. But they don't want to,
but not into their business. Yes. Just around.
So if that nigga is building a church, I don't believe that that's like a legit church.
You sasa hata Uhuru Kenyatta during my time in campus, I used to walk along State House Road so much. Uhuru Kenyatta pia kuna nyumba hapo. Yeah, like gate yake na gate ya State House, like unaingia State House ndio unaenda una access hiyo nyumba yake, na pia hiyo nyumba yake pia iko na gate nyingine hapo State House Road. So like it's just State House.
Now this green one.
Yeah, the green one. Hiyo umejua ni keja ya Uhuru. So like watu walikuwa wanasemanga nikaa Uhuru hata hapo analala State House, alikuwa anakuja kulala kwa hiyo keja yake hapo. No.
Kwani me I always think that State House inakuwa like it's iko surrounded tu na ka wall, like perimeter wall, na hii ndani yake ni State House na kuna kitu yote kama sio nyumba na ka field kidogo.
Wezaki yaona hii
sasa occupy ndio ujue.
Occupy. State House ime surroundiwa na forest. Kuna miti all around. So
miti tu.
But fence yake ni mimi machuma tu. But tena ukikuja na huko mbele sasa
kotao.
So Simba ni natawadi.
Yeah, because I've walked kuna time tumeenda State House.
Hapo nyuma ya UN.
Yeah, nimefika UN.
Sasa hapo
ni nyuma yake.
State House.
Stone throw.
So this kuna bigger land yenye.
The land is so big. You kama State House bado ime surroundiwa na forest. That guy has come back again. So itabidi to nini? Slow down. So if unaona hata ukiingia State House bado ni kuna barabara, lazima tena it's some miles into the main house.
Yeah, then hey, maybe I thought that State House ni kama venye kuna maofisi nyingi, and then now there's a road, and then kuna perimeter wall, na nyumba moja iko hapo ni State House and it's done. No forest, no nothing. Umsa kuna a very big land enough to build a church.
Enough to build a church.
Now make sure, yeah, bro, najua mimi si preso anymore. By 2027 hadi 32. So by maybe 2035 pale bado atakuwa na trips to State House. Kuja hapo mimi
after 2027.
Nimekuja church yangu. Nilijenga church yangu hapa. Let's me wash money. So
jamaa shahesabu hadi 2027.
Yeah, the guy maybe is doing something that any other person would do, just solidifying his stay there. You get rich, you don't want to ever get poor again.
That is power.
You make sure
you get powerful, you want to stay powerful.
So I feel like that is the point.
Yeah, so
Ruto is doing what any other Ruto will do.
Because Uhuru pia kuna nyumba hapo, but ye Uhuru naye anasema inasemekana ni nani alimpointia pale ajenge kwa keja yake. Ovi pia Moi alimisuse power. Moi ndiye alimwambia wewe alikuwa anabonganga aje wewe utajenga pale. So
Moi akapoint tu ni kama lion, fulani kwa State House.
Akampointia hapo ajenge, na Uhuru akajengana keja yake hapo. Na keja hapo.
So nika kuna ndani ya like actually ndani ya State House.
Ile tu ni ndani ya State House. Juu iko ndani ya fence ya State House pale.
Like a whole mansion ama
wewe jua fence hadi juu. Wewe ona kitu iko ina hapo ndani. Hapo kwa Uhuru sasa imefence wewe ona. Imefence wazi.
But you can just tell it's not something jokey.
Picture State House most of the time inakuwa kwa this picture of Nairobi, picture the drone view inakuwa na parliament and the buildings blah blah blah. Sijaona hiyo picha na capture State House.
State House iko. Unaona picha State House?
Picha State House.
Nimeona picha State House, but nimeona like the whatever, just the forward view. Sijaona picha yenye like ime capture State House from up.
You uwezi ona juu iko ndani ya forest.
Kama State House ya Nakuru whatever ni uwezi ona hapo, naye iko because hapo si kubwa sana, hata ya Homa Bay wacha nisikupeleke mbali. Nimetenziwa. Sasa ya Homa Bay ndio uwezi ona ndani.
Oh yeah.
Wewe beta nje tunaona hivi vitu
vile White House ya madu. White House is very
sana hivi. So hata ukipita hapo uwezi ona. Na hapo pia wewe simama hadi saa hii enda tu mabia alafu uende hapo anze kuangalia hivi.
That's just a status launch.
It's not launch.
Yes, state launch.
Oh, so it's strategical by the way. Build hizo mamiti ni to make sure that you don't see anything that is going on in it. Ruto mjaza kwa anapiga wife bare hapo. Rada ni gani hapa?
But I think it's more security. Jambo access to nini wale watu wa sniper. Hawatakangi hata ujenge gorofa hapo kando. Watu wa sniper
no gorofas because people can always take pictures afu background in status. If niko na gorofa that is way like naenda tu huko uko upper floor napiga selfie na chini ni status
nacheza tu na
okay
but again it is very if at all the president is attacked that means entirety that the security of the nation is at risk. By virtue of you president hata gozo tu hivi ameanguka chini ameanguka your security wewe mwenyewe uko those are the things that need to be very secure.
Sasa secure gani buda na hata Trump alikuwa short akiwa na campaign kidogo tu ile ilipita kwa mazee kidogo.
By then he was not the president.
He wasn't the president.
But he has been the president for less than 4 years back.
Hapo ukitoka umetoka.
No unapewaga hiyo hata Obama baada kona the White House whatever hizo
security.
Wanaitwa nani?
But it is different.
Sasa mtu wa White House kuna venye wanaitwaga
the secret service.
Secret service. Obama bado kuna secret service.
You have.
So kuna
hata kina Uhuru
alikuwa na secret service ya lala. And the guy kidogo tu.
We might not know. Maybe it was political.
Maybe it was staged. Because I'm telling you, to stage. If someone wanted to kill Trump,
kama hiyo Trump
if someone wanted to kill Trump, angeendea masikio.
No, but you never
angeendea masikio bana.
You never know.
Honestly, trust me bana.
The only thing,
if I want to kill you, why would I shoot your ears and I have your head?
No, but the sniper maybe I come aim to vizuri.
Yet I have your head. If I want to kill you,
lenga tu masikio.
Trump kwa hapo like
and that guy was killed.
yeah.
That guy was killed. Very skilled to the point that alipiga tu masikio.
Yeah.
So it's someone who if he wanted to kill Trump angeendea kichwa. Amalizane nayo hiyo kazi ishe.
Mbona ana alama hiyo ya masikio penye alikuwa.
No, that was surgery. Alisema vizuri surgery David bro. Sasa hii ukikuwa short hata wewe hapa Kenya tu you go for surgery and it's done.
Mbona akuchapa ya shingo? Assuming that he had bulletproof.
If you look, I looked at the video by the way. But the kama ilikuwa state then they really
ile nikali
because ile nikali zile za Trump alikuwa kwa rally unaona na alikuwa na move out unajua alikuwa na move out of the rally like ashaongelesha wasi
alikuwa na malizia
so ashaanza kumalizia ndio hiyo gani walisikia hiyo sound tu hivi then the first thing ni kwenda chini na hiyo gani kumaanisha angekuwa tu amesimama hivi that nigga was really aiming at the forehead. You from
even nyingine hapo chini penye ameenda
even an experience
once ikisha hata mazuri
because person with that young man was not neutralized immediately. Was not neutralized immediately. I shoot ndio wakaanza kuangalia ndio akachapa sasa akiwa pale juu.
Of course ingekuwa msana nini ungemtandika ungesikia jamaa ameenda.
Why did they kill him?
Self defense bro. Self defense. Walikuwa jaribu kuniua. Nimekuona.
Because I'm very sure.
Yeah, wasn't niambia ati they sacrifice ati kwa plan yake. Okay, let me tell you, okay. Now that you're saying it was staged. Hebu niambie Trump akona boys. Naambia cheki wewe tutakumada afu familia yako tutakupea kitu. So fanya hivi wewe jifanye kuna shoot.
Alimua. Me I don't know if the guy
was killed. Yeah, the guy was killed.
Yeah.
But
he was
he was neutralized. Kumasha he was murdered. That is the word they don't use in those statements. Hebu niambie if it was a real stage. Wangu umse.
Yeah.
If once they're done with you
then hebu niambie the risk at which uko like cheki angekuwa a big professional yenye trust amechukua life yake akatrust kwa mkono wako that bro ni aim tu vizuri. Hata mimi niko hapo unajua ni aim all along, nilikuwa na sweat na shake because anajua niliambiwa mzani shoot
bro,
but nilimwambia ali shoot hapa.
You forget,
anaweza mistake.
You forgot that Sonko once said that walikuwa wanachukua magari wanachoma.
Yeah, I know.
I can't.
Juzi hapa si kuna hivi alikuwa amekidnapiwa na kwa kidnap.
Yeah. So me I can't rule out
in politics,
that it was intentional, but equally I can't rule out the virtue or the fact that it could be staged. Yeah, because me I believe if someone wanted to kill Trump, angeendea kichwa.
Yeah, mimi naona alienda tu kichwa ni vile sasa hiyo motion. Unajua unaweza kumi aim kabisa, you know, but hiyo reflex action ya the point of just holding your finger na kufanya tu hivi na hiyo bullet itoke. Na ulikuwa aim, you know, remember you must aim first and you release it. It's not a millisecond. You should travel in millisecond, in a travel in seconds. Na in seconds hiyo unaweza kuwa unaangalia hivi na in second umefanya hivi tu kidogo tu in a second. So I think ni ile in a second.
But unajua kama ilikuwa ipige hivi, ilifaa kuwa inaingia kwa
Niga yake ilipitia hapa. Na ilikuwa short distance.
Alienda hivi chini hivi akashika masikio.
And then akasimama Buda. Unajua ukipigwa na risasi nikao bana inakushtua inakushoka.
Yeah.
Yule jamaa alisimama baada ya koza zile viva. Because wote nimesikia na experience zao na gunshot wanasemanga it's like it paralyzes you for a minute. Like for 5 minutes ujui like nini inaendelea. Ama nikaa like hauko sawa.
Okay, unajua Trump amekuwa shot before. No, this is only the first time. Na hata alikuwa niliona interview yake alikuwa anasema when he was a businessman, because unajua that person jumped from being a businessman to a politician. Anyway,
but he's an active businessman.
Amekuwa shot not once not twice. Aliconfirm. So maybe the guy nika 50 kushoot 50 cents sahi. Hata active utamshoot na naangalia nani huyo akona hiyo hunda amedead. Nigga amekuwa shot sijui mara ngapi. Nigga jai kufa from a gun shot. I'm saying akula tu mtamee aim kwa head. He's been, you know, huku
lakini polisi wa Kenya bana,
it was always about the gang, you know, ile time yenye
polisi wa Kenya Vichekesho headshot bana.
Unauza basi
polisi wa Kenya bana.
Jaba msee, Jaba so
come on man.
Yeah, he had to,
unfortunately.
That was unfortunate, lakini yenye hapo kusurvive ni ngumu
bana. Cause bana, if you're declared brain dead,
you're dead already.
You don't expect so much.
But hey, you know, that is life, man. That is life. That is the Kenya.
That was so irresponsible.
Watu tunasema police anyo wanafaa wawe empowered. Ukishakuwa tu empowered, everything is going to be good. Uliza swali ya nani ya
big dog.
Ya big dog before we take a lunch break.
Buda aliandika paragraph.
Buda aliandika hapa.
Azia ningeku swali moja.
What is the most secretive thing you've ever done and no one knows up to date?
Toa tusikie. Toa moja. Then we call it a wrap, call it a day. You know. Moja.
Unachagua.
Nachagua.
Bado una filter.
Chagua. Ile inaita choma. Sisi tu moja.
The most secretive thing. Hey. Hey, ni gani?
You got all the time.
Kuna day nikiwa high school. Sasa kulikuwa na mwalimu alikuwa na anamsha watu. So
mlikuwa mnaamsha masaa ngapi hivi?
5. So mazee sijui hiyo day usingizi nililemeaje mazee. Na mimi nilikuwa na really nilikuwa naamshwa na mode ilikuwa inapata most of the time umeamka. Nishaamka. So si hii day usingizi imeniokota vizuri. So mimi nasikia jamaa ananichapa kwa nguu. So unajua mimi nadhani tu ni marafiki zangu wanacheza na mimi.
Na wewe.
Akanichapa ya pili. Budu unajua first unasikia kwa ndoto bana. Naisikia kwa ndoto. Sisikii.
Umenireel.
Tena akanichapa. Bado tunaisikia kwa ndoto. Akanichapa ya tatu. Buda nikamka kaniko na hasira. Nikidhani ni
the one of your friends.
So mimi nikajaribu kumwokota hivi. Nikacheki ni modi ya baze.
Kwepa. Mleo ongelea maneno na mode. Mleo ongelea.
Nilikuwa na expect atairudi kwa cube yangu. Basha kuwai.
Ulimkota like for real.
Tunajua nini unataka. Sasa naona hii.
Unaona hizi billion. Hizi uniform.
Jilikuwa kwa giza.
Ulisurvive.
Nilikimbia.
Ngokota mwalimu.
So hiyo day nilimake sure hiyo hakukuja. Nilimake sure kuji hiyo nini yangu tena. So naamka mapema. So iko ni hawa wengi.
Nilikuwa mnachapa mguu hivi ati uamke.
Kwa hiyo alikuwa anamkuchapa kijokes kama
ile kuamsha tu unajua. Sisi hakuna na kitu kama hiyo inaweza fanyika. Bro, in my high school, okay, gamba tuko tunamka for dawns. I don't think nilikuwa namka for dawns. Tulikuwa tunamka tu mapema like saa 12 whatever. But it's a bongo tulikuwa tunamka saa 9. Achana na 5 bro. Saa 9 ushaamka.
You understand, this guy was in Karen.
Where?
Karen of the country.
Where?
Nairobi school next.
Nairobi school is a papo fight.
Lazima uchape.
Hapo lazima upige na mguu kidogo. Buda, imagine mwalimu alikuwa anakuja kukupiga like literally asubuhi. Hiyo saa 9 because you to from saa 9:45 and then you like the 15 minutes ilikuwa kuserve uji. Unamko na ingia kwa Daniel uji na kwa gapo.
Saa 9.
So unajiserve ukienda ga don. So by saa 10 hivi unaweza
kama haja ningeamka hata mapema.
You could serve as many ujis as you want yourself because hakuna mtu hata kwa watu wako na assume uji. Kuna wengine wako na kunywa uji nini but you could serve as many because most of the time cooks walikuwa wanapika uji saa 4 wakiendaga makwa. Wanaiweka hapo. So kesho yako amka uchukue uji ukiendaga. Walimu wetu bana walikuwa
mistake kufanya shule yetu. Si asubuhi hakuna uji.
Kiaje? Kwa nini uji
hapo na ndo.
Hiyo uji haiko ati na sugar ma anything ilikuwa ni uji nyingine.
Hata ikose sugar watapata hiyo sugar.
Hata mimi ningeenda na ndo.
Kwa nimekumbuka kitu kingine. It's secretive but the somewhere a bit embarrassing.
Inakuwa weird
but inakaa weird but it's secretive juu nilinyamazia. So nikiwa form 1 funky ya kwanza big niliaenda ilikuwa shule yetu so nilienda juu nilikuwa hapo nje. Kulikuwa na madem. So madem walikuwa madem wa shule fulani ya Mabombe ilikuwa inaitwa na Pioneer. Nakumbuka walikuwa madem wawili. So akasema bana naogopa.
Na unataka kuataa.
Nataka kuataa.
Umevaa number 9 hapo nyuma.
Mgongoni bwana nataka kuendea.
Aina utofauti la. Aona hata sisi relate yani. Sasa number 9 ndio huwa attack. Basi.
Nikaona cross buda mpira iko wapi? Nataka kwenda kama Ronaldo bicycle. Nikasema hii siwezi enda peke yangu. Lazima niende na msana ni crossi.
Ana kucrossia.
So nikamwambia rafiki yangu cheki wewe wale mademo kwa ngapi?
Wawili.
Na tuko ngapi hapa?
Wawili.
Wewe piga cross ni se?
Ingishe ndani.
So tukaenda. Nikamwambia mimi yule ameiva zaidi ndio wa.
Okay.
Then nikamwambia wewe chukua hiyo.
Huyu mwingine.
So mimi nikaenda. Buda, ule maliongea na B5 minutes then wakaishia.
Mbona kwani mistari ama?
Si mistari. Nikoshwa nilikuwa na mistari kama single line book basi. Sasa usikii ODM the first thing aliniambia ati ni mnunulie soda. Buda sasa hiyo unajua unataka kupiga bicycle bro. So lazima uruke bana. So nikasa ni juice tu nataka. Tuende. Buda nikishamnulia juice mazi nikakaniambia basi tishafika maze. Naenda.
Na hujapewa namba
Buda sikuambiwa shit hata jina yake hakuniambia.
Na ushanunua soda
bana.
Soda imeenda hivi.
Ile time unajua kuna kuanga na ile
ufanyika hivyo.
Wewe uligonga goal post bana.
Buda niliata hiyo ball.
Hiyo hakugonga.
Hata sikuona ball.
Aliruka tu.
Niliruka.
Ball ikapita hapo.
Sasa kwani hata time unaenda tu on your way to know soda.
Buda si the first thing namuongelesha tu ni najintroduce. Unajua mimi naitwa
okay. Unaendea soda hiyo.
Okay, akaniambia I'm so hungry nataka soda. Na alafu unajua shida ama demo ameiva alikuwa anaongeleshwa kizungu tu ba. So you hungry. Let's go to the canteen. Ndio soda hapo na kulikuwa kitu kilikuwa zinaitwa nini? What's the name of this cakes?
You guys had cakes in school.
Kuna hii cakes fulani ilikuwa
tunasikiza tu bro.
Wow.
Nairobi bread. Nairobi school hapo kutakuwa na keki. Probably.
Nimesahau jina hiyo keki but Maryland. Ilikuwa inaitwa Maryland. Zilikuwa fiti. So
ni keki inaitwa Maryland. Inakuwa prepare kwa shule ama na supply. Bro, watu walikuwa nakula Maryland ilikuwa ni watu wa the high and mighty. Buda nikamshikia hiyo bana. Na kitu ilikuwa inaitwa Maryland ilikuwa ni amachi. Acha nisikia mighty hiva.
Soda ni mighty ni alikuwa mighty. Yeye anaenda kukula. Unajua mimi sijajinulia kitu hapo. And then kuna kwa mademu mwingine walikuwa wananunulia hata soda normal soda au ulikuwa unanunulia Monster. Monster ilikuwa tuso bana. Imagine tuso.
Hapo wenyewe hapo.
Buda hapo alikuwa
hapo ulienda. Sasa wapi?
After ameshika hiyo stuff man.
Na Maryland yangu
bana.
Akisema basi imekaa.
Wewe uliona hiyo basi ilikaa.
So that hata tunaweza organize so that hiyo haikukujia
but usikia hadi time na pigia story nakumbuka hadi akishuka akitoka nje ya gate bana.
I didn't even like
mbona kumsindikiza hadi hapo kwa gate
yeye nimeona basi
nilikuwa form 1 Buda.
No, I think
Buda nilikuwa nimetoka academy sikuwa
striker ametoka academy.
Sasa unajua ni unakumbuka hiyo time nilifaa kumsindikiza.
Unakumbuka hizi vitu kuchapaka ndio unakumbuka hizi vizuri.
Ndio yeye. Academy ananiongelea. Na mimi najipanga naenda tu. Sasa ndio nikisha baadaye. Sasa nilikuwa kwa mwa.
Buda wallahi nilifaa kufanya hivi.
Hata yeye ndiye ananiuliza, "Mbona nakuongelesha na unaenda?" Unajua kuna ndani ya fence na msichana ameiba. Sasa nimeenda kuteka maji because nilikuwa day scholar. Nimeenda kuteka maji kwa parish. Nilikuwa nakaa kwa hospital hapa. So nilikuwa namuonanga yule mrembo. Ndio siku moja ameanza kuniongelesha, niko peke yangu ananiongelesha. Lakini mimi naongea na mimi naenda.
Unaongea na unaenda. Na unajua una nini?
Nilimkufia kitambo. Yeye ndiye ameanza hii conversation hata mimi sijainitiate na ameanza kuniongelesha. Badala ya mimi kuongea na yeye nikisimama tuongee tumalize hii story. Ninaongea na naenda. Hata yeye ndiye ananiuliza, "Mbona nakuongelesha na unaenda?" Tutaongea.
Alafu unakaa chini unasema hata mimi kuna experience yangu ya high school yenye nilikatia dem niko tu pale naongea na dem hivi afu my chair ikaanguka then for mwana akakuja akakaa hapo. Now that was hiyo ilichukua esteem yangu tukaso ikaenda
-0.
I'm telling you sijai regain si kwa regain Na sababu we didn't go to most of the outings. Mashule ndio zilikuwa zinakuja kwetu. You know, ni Augusta Clam, Lo Augusta Clam, like the best schools around you, Kisumu, whatever. Hiyo shit ikifanyikia, especially with the lady. Niko hapo napiga mistari mazee, you know, but hatujafika upote kupeana namba, we still there, you know. Tuko kwa hii ilikuwa ni CU rally ama some rally. So everybody akutuna wake. And I don't know what I did. I don't know if I hung out maybe kusoma something from that lady or anything, but chair ilikatika ikaniangusha.
Ora minus.
What buda bana. Dem akunyokota ama kufanya anything.
Yeah, naenda.
Hao ndo libast. I thought you were at my corner, man. I thought kumbe tabado, man. And then from one nimetoka hapo from manzeni, I had to take the chair and to the back. Na toka top hivi sijafika hata to the back. Sinaona tu from one shajisunda hapo. Na chair yake na shaanza. He's even now lively.
Hiyo ni back pipe yangu. Wewe ulikuwa from ngapi? Unajua kani
I wasn't
from one mwezi wako si shida.
I think it's hiyo ni shida because alikuwa lower than me, you know. And I really took it badly.
Unakuwa sliced.
I really
you are sliced massively.
Nilikuwa hapo bali.
Mwana ameketi anaona akiwa anacheza na upochu.
Bana ni kama alikuwa anangoja tu ni fumble.
Alikuwa naomba tu hii chance nianguke.
Wewe mse pia I tend to reason sasa yako pale anasema venye kuna fala fulani.
Aliwahi fumble
nikaingia kwa opportunity. So
na Mungu naye ni nani? Chair.
I don't know. I think maybe God alikuwa anataka
Right, let's sign this one out now. Travis tutaandika swali ya guest next.
Yeah.
Maybe you one word to our people before you write something.
Yeah, it was a nice conversation. No, Yuku.
Camera A.
I was taught something in English when you're having a conversation. You maintain an eye contact. You man, most of the time when I'm addressing, Yuku. So like I forgot we were addressing our viewers.
To contact your eye with the audience.
Yeah. So it was a nice time. I enjoyed the conversation today about politics, a bit of career, and our diversity. One basic thing we should enjoy our diversity. It's not a bad thing, but we enjoy our origin and our culture too. We need a transformative type of politics in terms of which policies do you identify to, you know, what type of ideas can you channel into what we have right now to have a transformative country. It doesn't matter, it doesn't have to be within the political space, but even in the space you are, be it career, you know, social area, you know, the place of work. You know, for the systems to work, it starts from the very small areas, transiting into the big and larger organizations. Yeah, and all in all, Kenya needs renaissance.
All right.
1 minute.
Peace. Okay.
1 minute. I'll get you up.
Wait, why don't you pull up?
All right. Africa, you have something.
Peace, manze, and trusting God.
All right. Thank you so much. If you stayed with us up to this very moment, you are a champion, Bwana. So thank you so much for tuning in and for staying with us up to this very moment. And we are still having another episode in the afternoon. We're just breaking for lunch and I'm going to have some delicious meal hata kama sijui ni nini.
We're coming back. Niko njaa vibaya sana.
See you in a bit.
Afternoon. Ni sana.
It's already saa 8.
Niko njaa hivi. All right, champions.
See you.
Sarwa. Wewe mimi ya Daniel kama